We were girls together.
Women's friendships are very different than men's friendships.
Why do you think everybody's jealous of you? Now I will break down how it ended.
Bitch, you not gonna tell the people how we was at an Italian restaurant and you ate so much fucking food, you fucking vacuumed?
JT and Carisha is really a tale as old as time.
Girls, like we all love each other. Like we don't
let's realize that women fuck up too. You know,
Yeah.
like we're not like fucking holy. And it's like, let's celebrate that.
Bitch, what I was trying to say is this situation got me so wet and so dry at the same time. Exactly.
What's up, bitches? Welcome back to another episode of So Wet, So Dry. I'm one of your hosts, Fiji, like the island, like the water. My favorite food is a bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant with sriracha and mayo, and I work in social media and marketing.
And I am your other host, Autumn, like the season. I am a bisexual that's been celibate for way too motherfucking long, and I work in entertainment. If you guys are new here and this is the first time you're tuning in to So Wet, So Dry, what it is that we do is we explore duality through deep diving topics about sex, relationships, personal identity, all where internet trends and reality collides. We do post polls every single week on our Instagram for upcoming episodes so you guys can participate and submit a story and whatnot. So make sure you're following us on Instagram at So Wet, So Dry. The O's are zeros to be a part of that. And honestly, whatever you're doing right now, whatever platform you're on, please don't forget to subscribe or follow. I know it's low-key cringe when like small creators like fucking beg people.
Please.
But like, I don't know what else to do. Like we would appreciate it so much and it really does help us. And it's just a click of a button, you know, like I'm watching videos and they're small creators. Like I, feel
Subscribe.
Like just comment, subscribe, like you guys already know, but it would mean so much to us if you could. So thank you in advance.
Yes, and today we are talking about the depth of female friendship. We're going to get into female friendship breakups, female rivalry, especially when it comes to business. We're going to talk about Charlie XCX and Lorde. We're going to talk about JT and Carisha, and we're of course going to talk about Spice and Cleotrapa. But before we get into that, we're going to start the episode as we always do, talking about what we're so wet and so dry about in this very moment. And if you guys are tuning in for the very first time and you don't give a fuck about what went on in our week, then you can skip on to the next timestamp. We'll catch you later in the episode. We still love you. Whatever. Bye. Anyway, this week.
Literally, though.
So wet because I've been watching some good shows.
Okay, one that I put you on.
One that Autumn put me on to, The Perfect Couple. I'm not done with it yet, but I'm like about halfway through. It's definitely giving like White Lotus energy, like you said. So like, we love a mystery. We love like
a vacay setting. Yeah.
Some like sketchy, privileged white people doing like
literally.
Shit. Yeah. And it's set in Nantucket, which we knew someone when we went to college that's from Nantucket, and he lived there like full year round, but he would always like tell me like all the drama that goes on because people just go for the summer. Like
I can't even imagine living in a place like Nantucket. Like you think Boston's small?
They don't even have stuff. They have like one.
Like, do they have 7-Eleven? Like, do they?
Yeah, I don't think so. They don't have like major brands. It's literally an island. But yeah, so I'm watching that, and then I also watched Average Joe, guys, which low key I had been like swiping on Netflix and like seen it and didn't really think about it, but someone had recommended it to me, and it's like a. Not a mystery, like it's like an action, like they're trying to solve some shit. It is based on a true story. I still haven't looked up the true story that it's based on. I need to do that. But there's a lot of like underlying stuff about like masculinity and also like family relationships and like couple dynamics that like I was not expecting from something like that. Like I cried multiple times during this show.
Wow.
It was so fucking good. So definitely recommend those two.
Yeah. And I feel like it's crazy too, because I feel like we pass off so many shows because like it looks weird or whatever, but it's like you truly never know. Like I really want to get in the habit of just like seeing, like if you don't like it, turn it off. You know, I'm so picky. It's like
because half the time I'm not paying attention. I'm like playing Sims on my phone.
Let's go. Like, we're the same, bitch. I haven't played Sims in so long. But anyways, this week my wet and dry are connected. So I know it kind of fucks up our flow, but I am going to say my dry and then go into the wet, and then you can finish us off.
Yep.
So to start with the dry, if you guys have been loyal listeners, such a long time ago, one of my wets was Alexa Nicholas, who's a former child star, created a company called Eat Predators. And it was like an entertainment, it was supposed to be a survivor-led collective that like fights predators in the entertainment industry. And I ate that shit up. I was like, nostalgia this, like we were talking about Nickelodeon and all these things. But then over time, it's like something kind of became a little bit off with Alexa. And like, I always kind of noticed it. Like she has a lot of dead air in her videos where she's just like thinking and then talks. Like it's almost like really hard. Like you have to put it in like 2 times speed. But then there was like all this drama that went down. And now I'm just like, I can't support her at all. And I don't even want to get into it.
What was the drama? I need to know.
Well, it's just like basically the whole situation, like she supports survivors, like all survivors of domestic abuse, violence, anything you went to that you're a survivor, she supports you. And that's her whole fucking thing. As we know, Drake Bell harmed a young girl.
Yes.
And that went to trial, etc.
Yeah.
Then we found out Drake Bell was harmed as a child in the documentary Quiet on Set. And we all know that people can be abusers and also be abused.
Yes.
I mean, that's the cycle of abuse.
Yeah.
And she's talked about that, but for whatever reason, now it's like she's going back on that. She hasn't explicitly said it, but she has not explicitly said that she still supports the victim of Drake Bell. She deleted her video from a while ago that was in support of Drake Bell's victim. And people are asking her all these questions. Why did you do that? Silence. You know, like she's not saying anything. And she said, I support the victim's bravery. Not the same thing. You can't say I support her. Like, it seems as though, and now all of a sudden, her and Drake Bell weren't friends. I was supposed to say this.
They're friends.
They're friends. She's backstage at Drake Bell's concert. The video goes down. Now all of a sudden, you know, and she's gotten mad at other people for platforming abusers that had also been abused as children.
See, but when that money comes in or someone from their PR team reaches out to you and says, oh, do you want to come to this free concert? People switch up.
And all of a sudden, her survivor-led collective, about 5 employees have come out. This is not a survivor-led collective. Like, this is a for-profit. She's the executive. We're all working so hard, not getting paid. She's selling merch. She has a Patreon. She has YouTube. She's getting all this money. Where is it going? You know what I mean? So there's that. And then there's this reporter that wanted to do an article about her that's literally an NBC journalist. And it's like so for real and was going to be like, what is Alexa's like, did she have certification in trauma and advocacy work? And Alexa's thing is like, I've been through trauma. That makes me I can be an advocate. But it's like, that's not necessarily true. Like, yes, you are an expert in what you went through 1000%. But there's like so much nuance to trauma. Like, I'm not saying. It also
impacts, like, I mean, I feel like I don't always look at, because I'm a survivor of DV, I don't always look at situations the best way because of, you know, it's because it's trauma responding. Yes, exactly. And that's why it's like, I feel for her. Like, she's a survivor. She's went through horrible shit, but it's like, she's attacking people on Twitter. Like, so is it a nonprofit?
No, it's for profit. And now she's mad. Like, you guys don't want me to eat. Like, you don't want to see a survivor eat. And she hides behind that as a survivor constantly. Every time she's critiqued, oh, well, I'm a survivor. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't.
There's more nuance. So the wet comes in. I watched Ophie Doki's video about this. She's a small creator. I mean, she's bigger than us. She has 5,000 subscribers, but she's smaller and she's just so fucking smart. She's a lesbian. She's a feminist. Like, and she has, where she records, it's called the Nuance Corner, and there's a bunch of pillows and like, it's really cute. And it was just like the media literacy, guys, because when I first saw Alexa Nicholas, I was like, oh my God, I loved Zoe 101 as a child. I can't believe that happened to her. This is so sad. It's so amazing that she's, you know, because she was an actor a little bit after that. Now it's like her career's over.
Which one was she on Zoe?
She was Nicole. Like, she was only in the first season because then they, like, kicked her off because she was, who knows now? Like, I don't even know anymore. But, like, so anyways, all this is coming out against her. And, like, I don't know. I really liked Ophie Doki's video. But it's just crazy. Like, I bought an Eat Predator sweatshirt. Like, I thought I was going to be donating funds to survivors. Like, that's how she advocated that it was. And it's like, now I'm like, I just paid for, like, her dinner. Like, I feel, and she deserves that too. But it's like, just say what it is, though.
Just
like,
say what
don't
it is,
say you're a survivor-led
collective
collective
for things
and still make some money.
Well, yeah, and make money, but you're not trying to be a nonprofit or being like, oh, these funds are going to that. Like, we advocate for stuff, but we're not, oh, guys, when you subscribe to our shit, we're sending it. No, like, that goes to us.
Like, that's what
creators.
she made it seem like, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, just to hear, it's like her own employees, like, she made videos about them trashing them, all because they were upset that, like, they weren't getting paid and they were doing, like, full-time work. And it's like, if there's going to be money, like, what are we going to do? Like, can we make this a nonprofit? Like, what is going on? So it's just like the media literacy thing. It's like, I just really ate it up. And it's like, I don't think for myself. And like, I did have that feeling of like, something seems a little bit off about her. And then when I watched Ophie Doki's video, I was like, oh my God. You know, it's like, you guys, like, we can't just like believe everything. Cause I really am like, fuck, like, that sweatshirt was not expensive. I mean, was expensive.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't wear it anymore. Like, I don't know. So it's a big old wet dry, but now I have a new creator to binge.
And that's smaller. So you're supporting like smaller creators.
Yeah, we should reach out to her, honestly, see if she wants to, like, I don't know, do something. Yeah.
Whew. For So Dry, so it was my dog Mozzie's birthday. Well, it's his adoption day.
Yeah.
9/11.
Gotcha day.
Yeah. Gotcha. I think he's like, I don't even know how old he is now, guys. Like maybe 6, 7. Like, I don't fucking know. He acts.
That's what you say every time. I know. How old?
I feel like I've been saying that for like 3 years. So maybe he's older.
Because he's a rescue.
Yeah.
And he got passed around from home to home. Everyone's like, he's too much. And here we go, Fiji.
Oh, speaking of which, he's barking. Mozzie. But yeah, so I realized it was his birthday, adoption day in the morning. Because, you know, like, I'm a dog mom that loves my dog. But, like, I'm not, like, the best. Like, I'm not bringing him to McDonald's to get, like, a flurry. Like, you know, like,
but,
I try
you
my
shouldn't
best.
be
like,
doing that anyways.
I do what I can. But anyway, so when I realized it was his adoption day, I'm like, oh, my God, I have to do something. So thankfully, I had some extra treats, like bones. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to take him to the dog park. Because we had just gone to the dog park, like, a couple weeks ago. And he was fine. Like, he got into a little tough thing.
Tussle.
But he was okay. This time, for whatever fucking reason, he was on one. And I'm talking like he was going for other dogs next. And, like, the crazy thing is, like, I don't know how dogs play all the time, right? Like, sometimes they get a little rough, but they're good.
It's
but
hard to tell.
Yeah, but because he would do that, and then he would just, like, prance away and be like, okay. But, like, the thing was that there were some dog owners that had smaller dogs at the dog park that I would say were, like, probably too small for the big dog park, but, like, whatever, they're here. And there was this one little fucking golden doodle that he, like, would not leave alone. So I had to take him on timeout. And thankfully I had someone with me that was, like, helping me. But then we get him over there. He's, like, chill. He's, like, laying down. Like, he's, like, a little sad because all the other dogs are over there. And then I had to have him leave the dog park, right? Because we have to go home now because you're being bad. But there's only one fucking exit. And the thing is he's leash aggressive. So, like, I'm trying to bring him past a crowd of dogs who all want to sniff him. But when he's on the leash, he gets snappy. Like, when he's off of it, he's fine. So, I would cause the scene. It was so embarrassing because
you had to walk
get the
through
dogs away because I didn't want anyone to, like, you know. So he really misbehaved. He ruined his fucking adoption day. I still gave him a bath and, like, some treats when we got home. But I'm like, damn, like, I need to make more money so I can get a fucking trainer because that shit is like, you can get in trouble. Like, you
or
get
it's like,
sued.
dude, not even that. It's like they need yards. Like, because the same shit with my dog. It's like when they don't, like, these bougie ass dogs, like, they don't even need to go on walks like that. Like, they run around the yard. That's what he needs.
And they're all gold, or they're all, like,
he needs,
golden
like,
doodles or purebreds that are so, like, calm and like docile.
And, like,
they
stupid.
play so friendly.
They're like, who's the
And meanwhile, Mozzie has a fucking panic. Like, every other dog is calm. He literally is like, like, he's so bad.
I know.
It's just,
because he's
it's
fucking
embarrassing.
excited, but it's like, bro, this is
Too
why I can't
excited.
take you here.
Right. I can't take you anywhere. Like,
I know.
whatever.
It's too
Anyway.
much. Anyways.
Let's get into this episode. So, yeah, we're talking about female friendship. We're talking about female friendship breakups, female rivalry, all these different women. But first, I want to start us with the romanticization of girlhood and also the depth of female friendship. So if you guys have been like online on this planet in the past couple years, we all know the Barbie movie came out, girlhood was trending, I'm just a girl, girl dinner, all of this stuff.
Right.
And within that, there's also been a lot of trends that have really been celebrating female friendship and like what it means to be a girl and a girl's girl and all of that. So I'm going to play a couple TikToks.
We were girls together. Do you know how special that is? We talked all night about falling in love, but that was the love story. We were already in it. Being girls with you was the greatest joy of my life. Anyone who has loved me after you has loved us. Girlhood is a part of the foundation of every version of me I've ever been, and every version I ever will be.
Nearly everything I know about love, I've learnt in my long-term friendships with women.
So then we have this article that says, if there was a way to monitor the buzzy cycle of internet lingo that comes out of social media, a TikTok wrapped, if you will, the #1 spot for 2023 would probably go to the use of girl vocabulary. Between girl dinner, hot girl walks, girl math, we've created a phenomenon out of the little ways women label parts of their lives. Amid it all, more people are voicing their desire to simply be, quote, just a girl, whether that means declining the hustle culture society has succumbed to in the past. And then they talk about marketing, like whether this girlhood kind of, not, I don't want to say fetishization, but like obsession is just from marketing.
But I'm just like, is this like, you know how it's like, there's a pilot and then there's like a female pilot, like everything has to have the word like female. If it, Yes. So I feel like the hot girl, because it kind of pisses me off, all this shit, I'll be so honest. But like, is it just taking back patriarchy? Like, okay, so let's just make it girl, girl, girl then, you know? Okay.
Good question. So
yeah,
we're going to get into it. Okay, so we would be remiss to say there are questions about the trend that aren't worth contemplating, as you said. By wanting to be girls more than women, are we neglecting our adult accountabilities and accepting the infantilization, I can read words, the patriarchy places on us? Are we ignoring larger issues at play and living in a state of ignorant bliss? Or have we earned the right to hold our girlhood close? A valid response to the all too common narrative of being written off as we grow older. As Robin Wasserman sums it up in her essay, What Do We Mean When We Call Women Girls? Quote, to be called just a girl may be diminishment, but to call yourself still a girl can be empowerment. Laying claim to the unencumbered liberties of youth. Being still a girl is a relief for anyone who felt a flip switch around the time they entered middle school. Many of us who grew up indulging in stereotypically girly activities experience sudden loss as all the things we once took comfort in become, quote, uncool. Because we abandoned much of the things we loved as girls in hopes of becoming perceived as edgy and interesting, we are now grieving our childhoods and admitting we want aspects of our youth back. There is a sense of making up for lost time when we, as women, reconnect with who we were when we were younger. Karen admits that at its core, and with extremities aside, this kind of nostalgia is a healthy form of escapism. I'd rather do this, celebrate girlhood, than mourn the childhood they didn't have and fall into destructive behaviors and fill themselves with self-hatred. And despite being a psychologist herself, she even tells her therapist how she's recently had a thing for Barbies because she was forced to grow up rapidly and is now attempting to recreate moments of childhood she didn't have. When you boil it down, it's simple. It's women saying, I missed out on this, or I missed this, and this is how I'm going to remedy the situation, she explains. In that sense, there's a lot of agency in proclaiming you're still a girl. So we're going to get into this like a little bit more with the next passage, then we're going to talk about it. But it's kind of this idea of like, as women, we have to grow up too fast and we lose our girlhood.
Yeah.
So this other article is called Platonic Passages, Navigating Friendships Throughout Girlhood by Emily Gomez. And throughout the article, I kind of get the vibe that she is younger. This was written in May of 2024, but I kind of get the vibe that she's either still in high school or still in college based on what she's saying. Damn. And she says, the feel of, this is so poetic, right? The feel of synthetic bristles on my cheeks as my closest friend attempts to do my makeup. The compactness of my bedroom when my friends and I huddle to exchange whispers. The support of a shoulder when my head needs somewhere to lay. Today, the friendships I have with other women remain the foundations of my growth as I navigate through young adulthood and learn to define who I am. However, when I was younger, I did not always consider the value of my friendships. Growing up, I faced a lot of the ups and downs of female friendships, just as many girls do. Many friendships in my youth were interrupted by the surge of internalized misogyny, jealousy, and our culture often pitting women against each other. Ooh. But my introduction to vulnerability was within the friendships of my girlhood. My friends and I could all relate to one another and have conversations about the issues that plagued us. My strained relationship with my mom, Andrea's struggles with mental health, and Diana's indecisiveness regarding her future. We had found an understanding within each other that was ultimately the most beneficial to our development. So with that, I want to ask you and have a little discussion question moment. Do you feel like your friendship shifted once you began to enter womanhood?
Yes, bitch. Like, I feel like I was honestly, because I feel like at that age, like middle school, high school, it's like, I think I'm insecure now. Like, I didn't even... Like, I was so insecure back then where it's almost like me feeling good about myself and things was, like, the priority. Like, even if it meant I had to, like, be mean to a friend in the process. Like, I don't think I was a shitty friend. Like, I'm still friends with, like, majority – or, well, no. I'm still friends with the closest friends I had in high school. But I think I did have a lot of fake friends growing up because some people I was friends with, like, just for, like, social status. Like, I'll say it. You know what I mean? Like, did I really love
once you reach, like that preteen time, right? Where,
right. Like, yeah. Like, I was, like, elementary school and, like, even 6th grade. Like, I feel like it shifted for me, like, 7th and 8th grade because I cut off people that, like, weren't cool, quote, unquote. Yes. Not directly, like, I can't be friends with you, you're not cool, but it's, like, slow fade. And then started hanging out with, like, the popular group, and I was, like, thought I was on top, bitch. But really, I liked the other people better that I wasn't friends with anymore. And that's what I mean. It's, like, the misogyny and, like, the competing. And just, like, you know, I had a friend in high school. We stopped being friends for almost a year because I thought she kissed someone that I liked. We weren't even dating, me and this guy. I liked him. He didn't want to be with me. He just wanted to hook up. He was a lot older. I'll never know if they really kissed or not. You know, people told me they saw it. I don't know why they would lie, but she denies it to this day, and we're friends again now. And me and that girl have been friends since we were 4 years old. We're 16. I find out she kisses someone that I like. Looking back, I don't even know how much I really even liked him. You know, it's like he just made me feel good about myself or whatever. And I cut her off like it was nothing. You're done.
But that's like a common thing, right? Because it's like even today with in adult friendships where it's like, oh, you're a girl's girl. Like you have to put girls before like guys. And if a girl does that to you, like that's like the ultimate backstabbing thing because it's supposed to be girls against boys like it was when you were growing up on the playground or whatever. But then when you bring in the object of like sex and relationships and like flirting, it's like you are, I guess, subliminally like competing with other women.
Right. And how many times have you kissed someone and it doesn't even matter? You know what I mean? It's like she had a human moment where maybe he was coming, like it was absolutely him. It wasn't like she cornered him, you know? Like he probably cornered her and like maybe she felt uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's like, but back then, I didn't even know about any of those things.
Because it's the codes of female friendship kind of. Yeah. Like, that's something you don't do. You're supposed to be for the girls, but then it's like you like start to compete. Because I remember like once it hit like middle school, high school, like same, like I started to be like prioritize like more coolness and stuff like that.
Ew.
But it was like, it was also like, I remember the undertones of being like, you know, who's like, boobs were bigger, who had like the newest underwear,
or who was just the hottest in general, who was the
hottest, like who got the most attention, like that.
It was
like
never
a hierarchy,
me, guys. Yeah,
you know. So yeah,
and I do think like I valued my friends a lot. Like I really did. Like because I didn't have guy friends, like, at all. Like, I literally, like, maybe in passing, but I'd never, like, gone to a guy friend when I was in need. Like, I really only had, like, female friendships. And, like, I didn't date anyone for a long time. I was, like, really confused about my sexuality. Like, I had flings. Like, my friends were everything. Like, people have boyfriends in high school. It's, like, that becomes a lot of what you do. Like, I watched some of my friends get boyfriends and I wouldn't see them as much. But it's, like, that was never me. Like, I always had flings with women, whatever, hook up with guys at 4 a.m. But I was never, my first relationship wasn't till I was, like, 19. Like, I was, like, a late bloomer in that sense. So I valued it a lot, but I definitely think I value them more now. And I think it's the person as well. It's, like, I feel like I value our friendship so much. Like, not because of, like, what we do for each other, like, how good we look together. Like, people think we're this and that.
Of who you are.
But, like, in the moments where it's like we're our makeup's not done, like, we're on the couch, we're talking, we're not filming, like, no one's around, and, like, we're, like, talking about, like, ugly things that we wouldn't want to, you know, like, that's like, the shit.
Like, even how they're talking about, like, oh, doing your friend's makeup, like, having someone to cry to, like, those moments of, like, such intimacy where you're like, oh, wow, this person, like, really has my back. And I feel like, honestly,
and, like, without that, I feel, like, scared to live. But back then, it's, like, I don't know if I really felt that way. Like, you know?
And I think I was the opposite where, like, I had always, like, really solid, like, female friendships, like, would hang out with, like, my couple. I had, like, one best friend at a time usually, or like a group.
Right.
And I would hang out with them all the time. But I remember when I switched schools and I started to get a lot of boy attention, like I always had like a new boyfriend every week. Like I started dating young.
Yeah,
and like I would say that I was probably one of those girls that they talk about that like centers men and got a boyfriend and like disappeared from my friends.
Yeah.
You know? And I think because of that, I always felt like underlying stuff from the girls I was friends with where they were trying to compete with me, and I didn't feel that as much. And I think it's probably because like I did develop earlier, and I did also start dating boys earlier, so I was like usually with everything, with drugs, with drinking, with dating, with sex, like I was the first person to do it, and that was like a lonely feeling because it's like
it's just like my friend growing up, like, honestly, like, she was the one to, like, do everything first, and all the guys wanted her. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, every single fucking one of them, even from, like, second grade, like, she was that girl, and it's like...
I was not like that from second grade. I feel like it was, like, when I was the new girl. Like, when you're the new girl, like, that adds a layer to it. It was, like, 7th grade puberty. Like, you know...
And it's also just like, and it's like beauty's subjective, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like that's just what was happening. And so the competition thing is so real. Like, I feel like I definitely suffered in silence, though. Like, I would never be like, oh, can you not look that good right now? Like, I never would dim her light.
And I've
like,
had friends say that to me, like more towards college and stuff like that. But we're going to get into. Going off of that, we're going to talk a little bit more about the depth of female friendships with this article from Psychology Today, talking about the complexities of female friendship. And Danielle Bayard Jackson is the author of Fighting for Our Friendships, The Science and Art of Conflict and Connection in Women's Relationships. Is talking with the interviewer essentially about what her book and research found. So she says, I think it comes down to the expectations we place on our close relationships. Research suggests that women have higher expectations of support and intimacy in their close relationships than men do. Women integrate our friends into our lives as deeply as siblings, whereas men treat their friends more like cousins. With such high expectations, even minor conflicts can feel like major violations. I know I'm generalizing here, but we tend to know that men aren't as intimately interwoven, that maybe they don't see and hang out with each other as often as women do. And so now I'm going to play 2 more TikToks just about the depth of female friendship.
Women's friendships are very different than men's friendships, and they're very important to our health. Because you guys, you kind of sit side by side and watch sports or cars or women. Women sit facing each other, eye to eye, and they say, I'm in trouble, I need you, can you help me? You know, we're not afraid of being vulnerable. What you have to do is you have to be intentional. You have to pursue people that you want to be friends with, and you have to say, I'm intentionally wanting to be your friend. And it works. People hear that, and then they stick around, and you develop new friendship.
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Okay. Describe the first moment you realized you could fully trust me.
Oh, right. The first moment. I think I knew from our first moments that I could fully trust you by how you show up. I think what I'd like to answer is the moment that I knew that I needed you. I've always trusted you, but I need you. I need you in my life to be who I am fully. I don't get to be me without you. I don't get to be me fully. And I feel like I realized that when I came to you and you held me on the hardest day of my life. And I knew that, like, I can't do this. Like, I can't take another step. I can't go any further in this life as a human being without you. And yeah, it was when I drove to you after I left my husband.
And then we also had a listener story from a man that submitted, even though we were calling for stuff from women, just like a man to submit. He said his friend fucked his sister after he told them both he wasn't with it, so he went and fucked his sister. Which I feel like just speaks to like a little bit of the difference. It's not that women haven't done that, and women definitely have.
Wow.
But you know, I think it's just a little interesting that he chose to say that. But yeah, that TikTok from the tweet video literally bawled my eyes out like 3-4 times watching it.
I know. It's like, it really is so deep. And part of it is because we're women and like we connect on that level. But it also is a feeling of like you need women to like exist in a patriarchal society. Like you need that to like rely. Just like if you're queer, you need queer friends. Like you need that. And so I feel like that's why it just hits so much deeper as well. And especially if like you go through things as friends together. I mean, it just like never goes away. And like we say it all the time, but it really is just as impactful as like your romantic relationship. It's like really the differences are just like there's less like petty arguments because you're friends. Yeah. And like you don't fuck. Like other than that, it's like very fucking similar.
And
like
arguably more, because like we have this YouTube video that I'm just gonna mention now, but like from Rowan Ellis. It's called "Female Loneliness and the Catch-Up Friend Crisis," and she talks about a lot of like female loneliness, like how we're in a loneliness epidemic right now and stuff. But she talked about exactly that. Like research shows that women have memories about friends that did them dirty, similar to like men's first girlfriend. You know how we always joke they never got over her,
right?
And also that the emotional intimacy is similar to a relationship, because honestly, like in like hanging out with like a man romantically, like more and stuff, like I'm consistently shocked, like how just like women are from Venus, men are from Mars. Like it's so annoying to say, but it really is, and it comes down to like our experiences in the world. Like there's so many things that it's like a man just like isn't gonna get, whether it's like it's not even like an inside joke because it's inside oppression in certain senses and different experiences, but like men just don't get that stuff.
I know
we do,
but it's just like, but then in the same breath, like as a society we say like, oh, gender's just a construct though. Right. But I get it. It's like, yes, it is just a construct, but because that is reinforced, it has caused like people to like move differently, and like for men and women to like have noticeable differences, you know? So, I don't know. It's so confusing, but it really is. And I feel like I first heard that term, men are from Mars, like women are from whatever, like when you're in elementary school.
Yes.
It's like almost like a known thing that it's like they're different. So it makes, sense to me that they treat their relationships different.
Yeah. And it could be like femmes versus mass and stuff like that too. Like it doesn't just have to break down on the lines of like sex, like when we're talking about gender, we're talking about like, because it's true, like when you present as like a femme and stuff like that, society treats you very differently than when you present as a mas. So it's
like the same shit.
It's the same exact stuff.
It's all about how society fucking sees you, not even what you really are, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Because I could be, that's a weird thing to say, but someone could be a trans person that is totally fine with like looking femme but feeling masc on the inside, but it's like they're always going to be looked at as femme. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. And it's like a fucking person of color that has white ass skin. It's like, you know, it's just like, it's all so fucked. Yeah. It isn't what you identify as. It's literally just what other people see you as.
How the world sees you. Right.
What?
Exactly. Yeah.
I know.
Exactly, because we're going to talk about Ice Spice a little bit later, and like Ice Spice is black, but she's very light skinned, and we're going to get into colorism and all of that stuff too, because it like it depends what group of people you're with. It depends like on all these different structures. So next we asked you guys, do you feel like you have strong female friendships in your life? And 92% of you guys said yes, 8% said no, and I do want to just like give a little love to our 8% that said no, because that is a really hard place to be in. And you can say as much as you want, like, I'm okay, like, I prefer being alone. And sometimes you need those eras, like we talked about in therapy speak, like, you need to go heal and, like, be away from people. But at the same time, like, I literally would be lost without you in my life. So it's like, damn.
Thank God, because it's fucking mutual, bitch.
Bro.
Like, it's actually terrifying. And, like, even us, like, going through that, and, like, we're gonna get into it, but, like, Fiji and I have had a friend breakup before.
Yes.
It's, like, even more intense, you know? And it's, like, I mean, it was different for us because you were in a fucking abusive relationship, and I was, like, moving to LA to pursue my dreams. But it's, like, it's not, like, we didn't die without each other. Like, it was fine for the time being, but it's, like, once we came back, I was, like, was I really fine, though? Because it's like you got to convince yourself that you're okay. You have to move on. Just like a breakup. Like we don't need people. You know, it's like you can be okay. But then when you have that intimate friendship, or you're just like, oh my God, I wasn't okay before, because this has added. I'm like getting chills. We're so corny, but I'm getting chills all over my body. But I feel for those 8% people too. And maybe it's just not right now, you know, and maybe they want to have mask friendships, you know, like whatever it is. Yeah. But I feel for that too. That's really hard.
Friendships in general are important. And that kind of is like what you were just saying with the next part, which is we asked you guys, what makes your female friendships the strongest? And 78% of you guys said being able to be your true self with them. 14% said support during hard times. 6% said shared interests. And only 2% said having fun together. And I feel like that's really
that's
it.
Tea,
like,
bro.
Like the emotional intimacy, like it, like you said, like we were surviving without it. Like I was surviving without you in my life. But like that feeling of being able to like call you and have someone that like truly understands me. Yeah. And isn't just like, you know, because when it's a man in your life or your boyfriend or even like just like a guy friend or even like a casual friend that you're not as close with, like they're not getting it on that level where they like completely understand. They're saying all the things to make you feel better, but they don't like see you.
Yeah. And it takes time. Like I feel like time and like us going through all those experiences, like that is why we're able to see each other so much better, because we've known each other for so long. We had like, you know, very similar college experiences for the most part. Like and now we built this whole thing together. Like, it's like there's been a lot of time and like effort within the friendship. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely just being able to be your true self. And like, for me, it's like saying fucked up shit. Like sometimes you gotta let it out. Like you not like a fucking slur, but like that you gaslit someone
like
or
like a problematic opinion, or be like, am I in the wrong for this? Or I said this really mean thing to my boyfriend, and like, you know, like maybe you need to check me, but like, am I right? Like, you know, like stuff like that.
Like when I say men shouldn't be strippers, like I said that on the air though.
When you're like, we should use all their
fucked up shit like that. Like, I need someone to, like, know me and know that I'm not malicious, but, like, I'm having this feeling.
This moment that you need to work out and talk to someone that gets you and isn't going to be like, oh, you're canceled for that, or oh, you're a bad person. Like,
because sometimes maybe I should be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but okay, so yeah, you want to read the list?
Yeah, someone submitted a story and said, she's literally the best. She will make you feel loved and seen and will never judge you. She's really strong. Super, super sweet. Someone talking about their best friend. Don't know who it is. But yeah, feeling seen is so real as well. It's like what we're talking about. It's like just someone seeing you for who you are and all the nuance that goes with it. And the next poll that we did ask y'all is, have you ever experienced a painful breakup with a female friend? And 90% said yes and 10% said no. And someone submitted a story too and said, I wish they were taken as seriously as a romantic breakup. They're just as painful and impactful. 90% is a lot of people. And I do think like it's natural to break up with friends as part of it. But I do think the like misogyny piece and the competing against each other and like the men, like that plays a strong role into it because we talk about, we hold women to like higher standards.
Yes.
And so A, that's why it hurts more. And B, that's why we like cut them off. Like we're ruthless, bitch.
Quicker. Like
quick.
They always say, oh, you're going to give
You're not in
1,000
love
chances,
with them. So
but
it's
you're going to give your
different.
best friend one chance. Like, oh, you're going to give
Hello?
him, you know? But it's because like I do think in a weird way, the emotional, it's different. It's not like I'm in love with you, but it's like the emotional intimacy of a best friendship. Like I have conversations with you that I could never have with my romantic partner.
Right.
You know, like they see a completely different side of you. So it's like it hurts so much more when you lose that because it's like, I don't know, like sometimes you can get over a breakup and be like, oh, fuck them. Oh, if they cheated, it's way easier. Oh, like, da-da-da. Like, but with a friend, it just hits on this deeper level where you're like.
And then it's like you add on to that. It's like the female friendship. It's like it hits different, but it's like why... Like, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like it's missing the point. It's like, I'm not saying, like, obviously if you like fucked my girlfriend that I don't have, like, yeah, that would be fucking bad. But it's like, if you, like the example I said of my friend in high school, it's like she just kissed someone that I liked. Really? I'm going to cut her off for that? Like, that just seems like too much. And it's like you're missing the mark. It's like, we're supposed to uplift women, not like hold them to a higher standard and then fucking crush them if they make one mistake where like I've stayed with a man who lied to me repeatedly, fucked me over, fucked other people, came home to fuck me, like, and it's all good, right? So it's just like we're missing it. We're missing the mark.
Sometimes girls will literally cut off like a really close friend over like, oh, you made plans with me and you canceled, or you were like little microscopic things. But I feel like because women put other women in their friendships on this high pedestal of like, you need to know me and you need to see me, that like this little thing could like be manifesting as like, oh, you don't love me. Oh, you don't care about me. Like we're done. And then it's just like, what the fuck? Because like everything is so big and important. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Everything is so big and important, and it does feel big. It's like, because especially if it's two straight female friends, it's like you almost like expect men to wrong you at the end of the day.
I was just gonna
but
say
you
that,
would
yes.
you would like die if your friend did anything because she's supposed to get it. Like she understands.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, I hate that about it, but I feel like without that, like, could we still have that intimacy? Like, if you don't have, you know, I think we could, but I don't like that part. And I definitely feel like I've like made some decisions of cutting people off that were like based in misogyny, like for real.
Same.
Not me though, bitch. Not me.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Okay,
no.
no.
Yours was a different situation.
Yeah, honestly, we both have had our fair share. I don't know about painful. Like, I've had a lot of female friendship breakups, but I feel like I've only really had like 3 painful ones.
Yeah.
One was in high school, one was in college with a high school friend, and one was with you. But I've had way more than that. They just like weren't as painful because you don't have that intimacy with every fucking friend. Like, it takes time and effort to build it. Or like a trauma experience.
Right. Like I've had a lot of friendship breakups, but I would say only like
some you didn't give a fuck.
2 were painful. Like it was you and then my best friend from high school. And I'm like realizing this now, and all of my friendship breakups, I'm always the person that cuts them off. Like that's like, damn. Yeah. Like I feel like I do have like a not low threshold for like, but I cut people off easily.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll snap and I'll be like, no, but like the one I know when I cut off the best friend from like high school, like I was in the wrong. Like, it was just
Right.
she was
But you
changing,
can't do
we
that
were
with
going-
men, which is tea.
It was just fucked up. And I never even, like, really cut her off. I just, like, kind of slow ghosted her, which was almost worse. And it was, like, literally just because, like, I went to art school. She went to a school in the South and joined a sorority. And I was, like, judging her for that because...
Which,
and
is
this
it valid?
Is, like, it's, like, fucked up, though, because I knew her and, like, loved her and stuck up for her, like, in a lot of senses when we were younger. And she was, like, bullied for certain things because she's Asian. And, like, I remember just feeling, like, super protective and being like, oh, you're going to this school with all these white girls that I know are saying these racist things. And, like, I thought of her as, like, oh, you're trying to be that. But I'm like, I'm also a white girl, and it's not okay for me to hate her for doing that. And she was always super girly, loved to do, like, group activities, like
like the sorority life.
She's like the number one, like, she loves that type of stuff. But, like, I just looked at it like I was like, oh, this isn't you, but it was her, you know? So it was like, it was fucked up of me.
I think it's like the college decision, like when you're friends with your, because I remember like thinking like where my best friend from high school went to school, like you couldn't have caught me dead going there, literally.
Yes.
And I'm just like, and then you start to think like, how are we best friends? But then it's like, no, it's okay to be different. Like we don't need to be the fucking same, bitch. Fun fact, y'all. Me and Fiji were both between, right? We were both between two different colleges.
Yes, the same ones.
It was Hofstra and Emerson, and we were different majors. So it wasn't like these were the best schools for this major. We were different majors. Like, and I just think that's so crazy. Like, I'm like, that's universe shit. Like we were
no matter what, we would have ended up at the same school.
Yeah, unless we made different decisions. That would have been sucked.
Crazy.
But I'm really glad we didn't go to Hofstra. I mean, nothing against Long Island, but no.
Yeah, but
that would have been hell.
We were in the city. Like, we were in.
We wouldn't have been strippers.
I mean, who knows? Yeah,
but we had to take, like, I remember because when I went to tour, it was like 45-minute bus to New York. Though.
Yeah, that was the reason I didn't go. Like, because
Me
I was
too. I was like,
there was nothing but a mall
and like a pizza fucking.
Yeah. So I was like, no, like I'm.
But I think that's really crazy. But it's like, and because a part of me is like, well, I do love us because we're so. Like, we are similar in a lot of ways,
but we're very different. Like, down to, like, the type of music that we listen to. Which is
true. Like, I'm a pop girly, and you're like, I don't even
overlaps.
Know. Right.
But even, we have a lot of differences. But, like, when it comes to the core stuff about, like, how we see the world and, like, how we, like, even work together and, like,
and how we come off. Like, I picture you to be, like a very, like, sexy feminine, but like a tiger almost. And I'm like a fucking bunny rabbit.
You have like a...
Yeah, I know.
Like a bunny rabbit with
but
claws. Like, they're hidden, but, like, watch out.
But I could fuck someone up,
Like, more than my tigerness, maybe, sometimes. Because, like, you know what I'm saying?
In
like,
different ways. It shows up in different ways. 1000%.
Yeah.
But... yeah, it's like, all that to say, like, I do think, like, that moment of, like, where everyone's going to college, because some best friends from high school, they go to the same school. They continue to be friends, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I just knew that was never going to happen for me and my best friend because she wanted to do nursing. She wanted to go to a school with football games. I did not.
Yeah.
I did not want to go to a sports school.
I didn't want to go to a university with 1,000 people in my class. And, like, I didn't want the university experience. I wanted the small art school experience.
And I was kind of tight that, like, we didn't have a campus because, like, it was hard to make friends. But, like, looking back, like, that was the best decision for me because I grew up.
Cool. Yeah,
we had to grow up.
Yeah.
Like, we're outside,
we were
like
in the city.
Like, literally just like everyone else, just 18-year-old bitches walking around like we're grown. Like, it was walking to class, like going to the but anyways, pivotal moments, guys. And then we asked y'all, why did most of your female friendships end? And 32% said envy/competition. 29% said we faded apart. 29% also said a bad argument. And 10% said over a guy. And I have to say, envy/competition, that doesn't surprise me. I really do think, like, friends break up for fucking so many types of reasons. Like, our friendship breakup was, like, so specific and like,
Yes.
you know, probably not as many people can relate to. Maybe, hopefully not. Like, I don't know. But I do think the envy competition, like, and it eats away at you. And then you start to resent the person.
Yes.
And I do think that's what happened with you and your college roommate. It's like, she
Oh
was
my
never
God.
like openly super nasty. She tried to dim your light,
It was
and
subliminal.
but over time, I think it's like she just like couldn't take it anymore. Like she was so jealous of you and like how you were in the world, what you looked like how you moved, all of that. It's like but she should have just communicated that to you. Like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I definitely think for us, like 1000%, like I don't really think any of those apply to us. Like
Yeah,
we
they
essentially stopped being friends because like we stopped being for a lot of reasons. Like one, we were codependent to an unhealthy point, which people tried to tell us, but like they were wrong. But then they got right like towards the end. Because at that time, whatever, like it's fine.
Yeah.
And then you were in a horrible abusive relationship with like one of the worst people ever. So it was just like, and that's happened to me before. Like I have like, you know, I've had it sounds crazy, but in 6th grade, I had a friend that was in an abusive relationship.
Bro.
Not to the degree that you were.
So early.
But like she had like a glass picture thrown at her. You know, it's like, it's fucking dangerous and like fucking abusive. And like she cut me off because he didn't want me to be friends with her anymore. So it wasn't like.
So it's half over a guy, but it's when you have the layer of like abuse and stuff in the situation, it makes it so different. And it's like he didn't tell in our situation, like he didn't tell me to cut you off. Like
God.
he liked you
Right.
as a person.
I kept
like
it
a
interesting
because we all used to hang out, but it was just, I mean, I think it was the fact that like we were in different cities because like me and him were still in Boston. You were in Boston and then LA. Like, no, I think you were in LA the whole time.
It's
came back
really
briefly.
Super briefly, yeah. So I was either like right about to go, I feel like.
Yeah, and it was just this weird mix of like, honestly, like I said, guys, like I've always been the person to end it. And I think from my perspective, it was like, I was like proud of Autumn and like really happy to see her like moving to LA and like starting this new life and like all this stuff. And like
meanwhile, you're with a fucking psycho.
Yeah,
though.
my ex was going through psychosis. Like it was like it was bad. Like we were low key like on drugs and stuff. And like we were about to move to Atlanta. It was like when we were at my parents' house, like a week away from moving to Atlanta.
Dude.
And I remember just feeling like our lives were going in like such different directions. And I also knew that the emotional support that I was like taking from Autumn, not taking, but like it was like, it was not equal and it was not even. And I feel like I was not able to hold the space for like excitement about like your life.
Right.
Because of like how shitty mine was going. And I also
and it was all consuming. Like literally, that's all you were with. That's the only person you were
and I was
with.
about to move to a city with him and just him.
God,
which was
fucking blessed.
insane. But I also do remember like your mom like literally saying, because she's been in an abusive relationship and does like work like this. And, and she was like, the only way I ever got out of it is when like I lost everybody like in my life. And I remember that like being kind of a component of it too, where I was just kind of like, this is something that I need to go through because I feel like Autumn's never gonna cut me off because she like loves me too much, even though like it's wearing on her. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
and it wasn't like
sense.
I woke up one day shocked. Like we had not been communicating like every day at this point. Like we were I felt it. Like we were a little like bickery, like it wasn't good. Like I was supposed to move in, I didn't. Like it was a whole thing, you guys. But that contributed though.
That could have.
Can you imagine? I know.
That
I know.
Blown like thank God.
Right. I would have been right there with y'all in psychosis type shit. Like I really would have because
and
like
doing drugs.
It was like that, the environment that we were like partaking in, like we were stripping, we were going out, like we were with this like crazy person that was funny sometimes and cool. And then it was really bad. Like it was like addictive behavior, like almost.
Yeah, and I got more into, because by then you had gone to LA and you were like doing better, I think, but I didn't. Like I stayed in that and I started doing way more drugs.
Worse.
And I was like, and it was just, so it's like, I think everything really happened for a reason because it's like, I think we needed that. And I feel
And this was like 4 years ago, guys. This was like not like a year ago. This was a long time ago. Yeah.
And it wasn't even a whole year we were.
It wasn't.
It was like 8 months maybe.
You're right.
6,
Literally.
8.
That's what I would say. It was not a whole year. Like we had definitely like I started stripping again and she didn't even know about it. And I had my first relationship with a man. She was now in Atlanta from going on like we had lived a lot of life, but it wasn't that long. And yeah, I don't know. It was really intense. And I honestly like didn't talk about it much with people in my life. Like it was painful and like I didn't know what to say. And like it was just like, because we were a duo. Like I went by a different name back then, guys. And like people knew us like as together. Like we were always together. We were always
wanted to start a project even back then.
Like we like
to do
like we were trying to podcast, make skits, like do TikToks, like all of that. But it's just like we were so chaotic. We were 19. We were not, we didn't have that determination that we have now.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. It was definitely the most painful breakup I've ever been through. And like, thank God we're back. And like, we were just talking about it off camera. Like, we don't really remember like the details, but like she had blocked me. So we're like, she had to have been the one because I wouldn't, like, what would I could have emailed you, I guess. But
no,
so, yeah,
I reached out.
And we FaceTimed.
Because he knew you. Like, there would be times where we would remainice about, like, old shit in Boston.
I know.
You would come up. And I remember always feeling like I miss her. Like, you know? So, like, it was building where I wanted to talk to you. And I was still with him when we started being friends again. But, like, when we, like, reconnected, like, I think it was a time where I was fed up in my job. You were fed up in your job, too. And we started to think about starting something together
immediately, bitch. Almost like immediately. We're like, okay, like podcast
right away. And it was almost also, I think, a lot of the catalyst for me like wanting to leave him too. Yeah, because I was like, we tried to record together,
but you were in a better place too. Like you told me, you were like, you know, he does this, but like I'm on my shit. Like I pay our bills. Like I have a job. Like blah blah blah. Like I could see like already like you were so much different. Like
I was setting up my life to be able to be
like separate. You were ready, but you were fucking terrified, and it's fucking valid. And like, and I remember when we got back, like we would be on FaceTime, you'd be like, he's home, I'm so sorry. Like you were so like just apologetic, like didn't want to like, and I'm like, I was like, girl, it's fine. Like
the first time we tried to record, guys, like the first time I was in my closet, I asked him to leave, he left. Like we literally got through like maybe the intro and like a little beginning, and he came in and he had gotten like stopped by the police and like needed to go bring his ID downstairs, or like it was insane.
And we had to stop. Like she was like, I gotta go, and I was like, okay, like, cool. But yeah,
it all worked out for like a reason. And that is kind of our segue, guys. So like me and Autumn, we worked it out on the remix. We are best friends and we're creating in real time, which is also such
like
a beautiful
better
thing. Friends
now than we were 1000%, because the state of our minds, like we weren't even able to like really like, you know, like
because we were functioning in this weird
like we loved each other for sure, but like I'm like we were, and now it's like we're so much more solid. And so I'm like honestly thank God that happened because. And it's like when you have a friendship breakup over something like that, it's like it's easier to come back from. It wasn't like you did something, I did something. It was like, no, like it's just life, like it shitty situations.
In a way, and like we both.
I just don't have the balls. I would have never done it.
Yeah.
Because I don't break up with people. But anyways.
No, I don't break up with guys. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's bordering on good quality, though, because you don't want to take shit. You want to be like, I'm eliminating energy, but it's like where it gets dangerous. Like our generation is just like, oh, bye, and then you have no friends.
You do it. Like the way that I did it with you was mean. It shouldn't. I'm like not mean to me. I don't even remember. Like I like had to mask it with meanness. Because it hurt so bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes so much sense.
It would have like literally.
Like you had to be like, no, like convince yourself. Yeah. Like convince yourself like, no, I actually don't want to be friends with her. This is a good thing. Like, I feel you. Cause I definitely felt that too. Like I was definitely mad. Like I was definitely like popping off to my mom. Yeah. Like being like, cause I didn't have any other friends. So I go to my mom and I'm like, what the fuck? Meanwhile, my mom's texting you on the low, like whatever.
I know she did. All right, so next we're going to get into female rivalry and business a little bit. We're going to be talking about business throughout this, but also like female friendship. And we're talking about the Work It Out on the remix era, so we will get into Charlie, XCX, and Lorde. But first, let's talk a little bit defining female rivalry.
Yes. So this article from the Medium says female rivalry. It's more than competition. It's the elephant in the room by Dr. Amber. So rivalry, it's a noun, and it's the competition for the same objective or for superiority in the same field. So rivalry is the act of competing for the same thing against another person. Rivalry comes from the noun rival, the person you compete against. Often a rivalry starts when people want the same reward, and their talents are just about equal. You may be more familiar with the following terms: aggressive animosity, battle, bitchy, women, catfight / catty, clash, competition / competitive, conflict, contention, contentious, discord, female feud, friction, hostile, opposition, resentment, spiteful, struggle, war, bully, vixen. It's just women being women, etc. Rivalry is a component of aggressive behavior. For the sake of this topic, I often use the word rivalry as the broader banner for various types of mean girl behaviors that can occur, such as bullying, judging, passive-aggressive, intangible behaviors, etc. When I conducted previous research for school, the closest defined word to rivalry in the scholarly literature was the term competition. And while it has similar aspects, it is a kinder, less abrasive action than rivalry. Rivalry between women is not just a lighthearted label. It's a real behavioral issue with lifelong lasting impacts. Rivalry and competition are common traits of indirect aggression and passive-aggressive behaviors portrayed by women. Rather than using a direct technique of aggression, females often express hostility indirectly in a roundabout approach. So true. Also, there is indication that women primarily target their aggression toward each other rather than focusing on the opposite sex. Emerita, professor of psychology and women's studies, states the following: girls and women are as competitive as men, but mainly toward each other. However, unlike men, middle-class white women and all those who aspire to be that position have learned that open competition among women is taboo.
Yeah, so speaking on the term like mean girls, this comes up a lot. There's so many stereotypes about female rivalry, competition, mean girls, passive aggressive stuff, whatever. And a lot of like what we think about when we think about mean girls is usually like Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan, obviously the Mean Girls movie. And so like I wanted to focus on like Kim and Paris just like real quick as like a overall example. Like Kim and Paris were obviously like best friends. Like Kim had cleaned Paris's closet before and like helped her sell her clothes or whatever.
Right.
And they used to go out all the time. They were both like icons together. Kim talked about we'd go anywhere and everywhere just to be seen. We knew exactly where to go, where to be seen, and how to have something written about you. All you had to do was go to this restaurant or this party, talk about whatever you want to talk about, and it would be in the paper the next day. So they had this iconic friendship where they were both like making money, capitalizing off I almost said patriarchy, paparazzi.
I mean, however you want to put it.
Yeah, getting to the bag. But Paris obviously did have, I would say, the power in that situation because she's the one that came from more money. Kim was helping her. Like, Kim's family was powerful, but not in the way Paris's was. But then I think maybe Paris started to feel intimidated by that, and she went on this podcast and she said, I would not want Kim's butt. It's gross. It reminds me of cottage cheese inside a trash bag. And so that's like just one of the few mean things that Paris Hilton has said. Like she said other stuff about Lindsay Lohan. Like that was a whole era in the early 2000s of like mean girls. Right. But now today, like since that, like Paris and Kim have like quote unquote worked things out on the remix. Like they've collabed on Skim stuff. They've collabed in like a music video with Paris Hilton, whatever.
And who knows how genuine that is because they know that everyone wants to see those two bitches together. That was so iconic from the 2000s. So it's like, we will never know. Yep. But like, I hope it is real, you know, like, cause they, whatever they are, they seem like good friends. months.
Exactly.
Or they did.
And how much of it is PR? Because like when we think about the early 2000s in that era, it was much more about pinning women against each other, mean girls, this is what women are like, whatever. And since then, we've kind of moved in this direction that we're going to talk about a little bit with Charlie, XCX and Lorde, where it's like working it out on the remix and like celebrating female friendships and like reclaiming bitchy terms and stuff like that. But before that, it was, before we're like Charlie XCX started calling it out for what it really is, it was like moving in that direction anyway.
Right.
So first, going off of like the mean girl stuff, like I said, Charlie XCX is really calling out stereotypes in the Brat album. Like so much of the Brat album is focused on relationships between women and women's relationship to themselves rather than like their relationships with just men. And she also talks a lot about like the pressure to be a perfect woman. Like she's in this weird place of like, oh, she's a party girl and she's being messy and she's having fun, which is very counteractive to the whole clean girl movement.
Yeah.
But it's also like reclaiming these misogynistic terms. So do you want to read the lyrics from her song, literally called Mean Girls?
I do. And Mean Girls is literally like probably like my favorite song on the album. Like honestly, it used to be 360, but now it's like Mean Girls. Like it's so awkward to read it because you know the tune in your head.
You can sing it if you want.
Absolutely the fuck not. Charlie XCX's voice is like very, I don't know. I can't, I could sing Sabrina Carpenter
You
better.
do the accent? Okay.
Yeah, no. So she says, yeah, it's 2 a.m. and she's out there in the sheer white dress wearing last night's makeup, all coquette-ish in the pictures with the flash on, worships Lana Del Rey in her AirPods. Yeah. Yeah, she's in her mid-20s, real intelligent, which always reminds me of us. Like, not saying we're so smart, but it's like we're trying to, like, have a podcast, whatever. Head on a stick with the gravel, drawl, and dead eyes. You said she's anorexic, and you heard she likes when people say it. Think you already know her, but you don't. And then the chorus is like, this one's for all my mean girls, all my bad girls, all my break your boyfriend's heart girls, for all my tear his shit apart girls, and then mean girls, bad girls, it repeats again. Verse 2, yeah, it's 4 a.m. and she's out there with a razor sharp tongue stuck to skinny cigarettes. Calls him daddy while she's fingering. Bro, that part, oh my God, okay.
I'm like, yes.
Calls him daddy while she's fingering a gold cross. And yeah, she's kind of fucked up, but she's still in vogue. Yeah, she's in her mid-20s, real intelligent, and you hate the fact she's New York City's darling. You said she's problematic, and the way you say it, so fanatic, thinks she already knows that you're obsessed. And like, honestly, like, I freaked out because this is Bible. Like, this is exactly what the fuck it is.
Yes.
And it honestly is so good on her because it's like she's mentioning Lana Del Rey, like coquette, like skinny cigarette. It's like, and she's not completely making fun of it, but she kind of is. Like, it's commentary.
But it's like, it's weird because it's like those types of girls, like when you think about how much hate Lana Del Rey got for like putting men on a pedestal and like doing all, and even how she's talking about like, oh, she's gonna break your boyfriend's heart. Like she's saying all these stereotypes about like mean girls, but she's also making it cunt and reclaiming it. Like even last night's makeup,
like it's okay though.
Right. Like, oh, she's a slut. Oh, she's mean. Oh, she's like doing messy shit. But like we like got away from that. Like we were all on our like Barbie girl, love each other, like all that stuff. But she's kind of like, okay, but we don't though, and we're messy, and it's okay to be that bitch.
And it's okay, right? Because all this like just a girl, like I can't do anything, or like my girl dinner with my perfect little cucumbers,
or like girls, like we all love each other, like we don't.
Like let's realize that women fuck up too. You know, like we're not like fucking holy, and it's like, let's celebrate that because, and it's like the reason we fuck up, the reason we're competitive, like it all comes back to like this society, and like we're not actively unlearning that shit. Like we're just like moving accordingly. It's like, I know, I love, and that's what Brat is about. Is like, to me, it's like really celebrating the fucking messiness of like being a woman because it's so messy. and it's hot at the same time. Like,
yes.
Like, you think about, like, that line of, like, with the razor sharp tongue stuck to skinny cigarettes, like, okay. Like, bad bitch.
Yeah.
That, like, honestly reminds me of you. Not that you have a razor sharp tongue, but, like, when you look so good when you stick out your tongue and stuff.
Babe, I'm screaming. But yeah, even the part where she's like, you say she's problematic, but the way you say it's so fanatic, like, that makes me think of, like, Paris Hilton and shit, too, where it's like, and even Kim Kardashian, like, we love to hate on these women, but, like, at the same time, you're making them icons, and, like, it's
you
also
love problematic bitches. They eat that shit up.
We're calling out, like, I think she's addressing the ways in which, like, women love to be problematic in certain senses, because you're gonna be, so you might as well, like, revel in it and, like, capitalize off of it. But, like, we also do have to we do have to talk about the issues with us, because, like, all of us just saying, like, oh, we're perfect, oh, we're girls, oh, love
fuck
women,
men,
that's not how it really is. Like, we need to look at ourselves too, and at least she's calling it out.
And for a time, it's cool. Like, I do think the Just a Girl, all that, it served a purpose for sure. And it's not bad, but it's like that, it can't be like the period on the end of the sentence, like, we're good now. Yeah. Like, that was fun. It's cute. We have our own trend, but it's like, it really, the whole girl versus women thing, like, really does get to me, because I'm like, damn. And like, that first article about the infantilization, I'm like, it's so real, because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, even how men talk about it, it's like, oh, this crazy girl, hot girl, but it's like, oh, she's a woman, though. Like, once she's 32, she's a grown-ass woman. Like, and
there's something wrong with being a woman.
Right.
You know, so, like, it's like she's too
It's nuanced, but I don't want people to think we're hating on Just a Girl, because I ate that shit up too.
Oh,
like,
I
love that.
I mean, I was never like
made
a super girly girl. Like, I was never, so it helped me in a lot of, like, love my femininity, like that type of thing. Yeah. So I think that's a good part of it. But yeah, okay, so next, within Brat as well, we have Charlie and Lorde. We all know the drama, but in case you guys don't, they were often compared to each other because they look alike, even though their music is not similar at all. And there's even, like, multiple interviews where the interviewer has, like, confused them of being each other, even though their music is different.
Which is crazy.
It's insane. And there's even one where Charlie was just like, oh, yeah, my song Royals. Like, she just, like, went with it because she's so fucking over it. So, like, that dynamic is already setting up a level of, like, competition between them. And then also Charlie is a party girl, and Lorde is much more of, like, I would say, like, a quieter, soft-spoken, like, homebody a little bit.
Yeah.
And this caused them to, like, judge each other, because they were constantly, like, related to each other, but they also were in such different worlds. And they even, like, attempted to hang out, because, you know, their name is always in the same sentence, but it never really, like, worked out.
So crazy.
It's insane. But that pressure to, like, you know, when someone's like, oh, this girl does a podcast too, like, you guys should be you know, it's just like, okay, like, sometimes it's like we're forcing it.
Yeah.
But so this article from USA Today, you know, talks about Brat embraces a hot mess pop star aesthetic, prioritizing club culture at its core, but still offering introspective lyrics on aging, womanhood, grief, and anxiety, like we kind of talked about. And then the famous track, Girl So Confusing, grabbed listeners' attention for its hyper-specific and accusatory lyrics. People say we're alike. They say we got the same hair. We talk about making music, but I don't know if it's honest. Can't tell if you want to see me falling over and failing. And then she goes on to say she had big hair. I had big hair. She wore black lipstick. I wore black lipstick. Oh, no, this is her outside of the song. You create these parallels and think, well, that could have been me. She said, I think you just read what you want into it because you're feeling insecure about your own work. On Girl So Confusing, Charlie is completely unfiltered. I don't know if you like me. Sometimes I think you might hate me. Sometimes I think I might hate you, which I honestly think is iconic for her to fucking call that out. However, Lorde was speechless when Charlie declared these insecurities. And also, Charlie's team had tried to get in contact with Lorde before the song came out, but they only got in contact with her literally 3 days before. Mm-hmm. So they literally worked it out on the remix. Like, from there, they started to create the song. And on the remix, Lorde confesses her struggles with her body image and disordered eating that caused her to isolate from her friends. She said, quote, I was so lost in my head and scared to be in your pictures. I was trapped in the hatred and your life seemed so awesome. I never thought for a second my voice was in your head. She sings, and through honest confrontation, Lorde is able to end the track with an affirmation of their friendship. I'm glad I know how you feel because I ride for you, Charlie. And people have like,
which is like, it's so heartwarming.
It really is. And people have been like, okay, but does she really ride for her? Because like, are they really friends or is this just PR? But it's like, even if they aren't after this, like become super fucking solid, I think it's so iconic just to like call out the rivalry that the like industry created and their insecurity and own their, like to talk about my body image issues, the fact that like we are compared, like to talk about your insecurities so openly. And then like collab with a woman, like that is so beautiful to me.
No, it really is. And I'm just like, I mean, what the fuck do I know? But it's not giving PR to me like at all because and it's not even like they need to be friends. It's like they just need to let that thing in their head die of like comparing themselves because like other people have put that on them. Like it's not like one of them wronged the other. It's like they didn't ask for that. But it's impossible to not compare yourself when everyone's doing it. You're in the spotlight to the point where interviewers are literally don't even know who the fuck you are. They're just calling you. You know, that's a lot. And it's like to write a song about it, put it out. I loved it. And people ate it up.
It was so really fucking iconic. And then from this, like you said, people ate it up. It sparked a lot of women on TikTok wanting to quote unquote work it out on the remix with the friends they had friendship breakups with. And this is like, you know, it's just so, it speaks also to the depth and intimacy of women's friendships where it's like, you always have that friend that you think about that like you fell off with, or even maybe not even your friend, but just a woman that you were pinned against that you could have really seen yourself being close, but because of like maybe a guy or like outside forces, like you never like could align.
Right.
So it did a lot for women's like friendships and solidarities, but like
honestly, it did so much. Like it's crazy. And like we've said this before, but it's like, to have an album like centered on like the messiness of like being a woman and like friendships and like nothing really about a guy like is like almost unheard of, you know? Like it actually is, because it's like even, you know, my girl Sabrina Carpenter, it's like her album is a lot about relationships. It's about a lot of other things too, and we need that. But I just feel like Charlie's album just like there's no wonder people ate it up. It's not just the marketing. It's not just the beat. Like it's something fucking different.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm paying attention to my audience. You guys are just a girling. You're mean girling. Like
you're going out. You're feeling messy.
Because she's 32.
Like
she's not like fucking like she's grown. You know?
Yes.
And it's like she feels that, and it makes me feel so much better about myself too. I'm like, damn, like. When I'm 32, I'm just going to remember, okay, well, this was the age that Charlie did Brat. So, like, we're not
And
old.
also to be a success, because sometimes I think, like, oh, to be a successful woman, I have to have my entire life together and be drinking green smoothies and working out and never sleeping in and never getting hungover. And it's like, no, like, you know,
no
you can, like,
off.
do both. Like, you can be messy. You don't need to, like, turn into this, like, perfect woman.
Right. The duality of it all, and like she really gave that to us in an art form that is fucking streamable and everyone's turned to it. Like it, incredible. Yeah. Well done.
All right, so more on female rivalry, this idea of business, covert competition. And I also want to talk about the idea of like, are we even friends? We're going to talk about Ice Spice and Cleotrapa, and like, this is very new, very fresh, very recent. We are recording this on September 13th, guys. I don't know if there's been development since then. So like by the time this comes out, there will be. Just want to say that. But essentially, we're going to go through the whole saga. So very first in April 2024, Baby Storm, who is a TikTok influencer, if you guys don't know, accused Ice Spice of using Cleotrapa. And essentially, she quote tweeted this video, which we're going to play real quick.
So Ice Spice is also Nigerian.
I didn't know. I seen her tweet though, but I didn't know.
Really? How close are y'all?
She never told me that though.
Really?
I was kind of confused too when she tweeted that. I'm like, did she tell me?
She's half.
She told me her best friend was. I remember when I was talking about me being Nigerian. She was like, yeah, my best friend's Nigerian. But I mean, if she's Nigerian, then period.
Baby Storm quotes that exact tweet with the video and says, "This is Cleo, the girl she chose to be her, quote, best friend to the public, when in reality, it was me behind the scenes. Cleo and her, meaning Ice Spice, are not really best friends. Isis, meaning Ice Spice, has always hated Cleo, but she used her so she could appear, quote, closer to blackness. She also lied about being Nigerian. She stole that from me." So, like, important to note that, like, we're getting into colorism and we're getting into, like, the accusation that Ice Spice is using Cleotrapa to be like closer to blackness. And it is also important to note that during this time, Baby Storm was being accused of maybe going through psychosis, and she did come out later and say, like, because she was saying all these things like, me and my boyfriend are going to go to an island and it's going to be the end of the world and all my fans can come to the island, and like she was saying like a lot of like crazy stuff.
Wow.
So, like and she did say later that like she had gotten help and like whatever, so a little bit iffy, but like she was friends with Cleotrapa and both Ice Spice. So then in May 2024, Baby Storm calls Ice Spice and Cleotrapa fake friends, and she quoted a picture that Ice Spice had posted of Cleotrapa and Ice Spice together that's now been deleted, and said, "Fake friends gotta stick together." And then she has a screenshot of her talking to Ice Spice. Ice Spice said, "Cleo FaceTime me." Baby Storm said, "How'd that go?" Ice Spice said, in the call, she said, "I'm so happy for you." Sounded mad fake. OMG, Baby Storm said. And then Ice Spice said, "And when we hung up, she said, 'I love you.' Like, no, you don't," with a bunch of exclamation marks. So we have Baby Storm getting in the middle and like calling this shit out, whatever. Then on September 2nd, 2024, really recently, Cleo and Ice Spice unfollow each other on Instagram. And this is like so funny, guys, when people do this, when they like look into who's following each other, like literally reporting it. I'm like,
bro,
what the fuck is
I know,
going
like
on?
that's what news looks like in 2024. Like she deleted the OF link from her bio. Like,
right,
it's
like,
crazy. Like, stop. Okay.
And so people were speculating that, you know, something went wrong on the tour because Cleotrapa was on tour with Ice Spice. And guys, just so you know, I saw Ice Spice on tour. The tickets were $4 in Atlanta. I didn't even pay for them. My friend did. Yeah, because I think she was trying to sell that shit out. So I did see.
I'm confused.
Yeah. But I mean, I had a good time. Like, it was all right. I hadn't listened to her album before that. But yeah,
it was like a last minute decision. You were told that you were going by your friends, and then
literally, they told me, like, okay, get ready, we're going. And I didn't know Cleotrapa was opening, so I obviously missed her. But yeah, so Cleo actually responded to a fan who claimed Cleotrapa was all about that bag and nothing else. The star admitted she was not paid for her part on tour. "Y'all thinking I got paid for this is hilarious. I was played, betrayed, and unpaid," Cleo wrote in a comment. "I never had a problem with being not paid. By the way," she continued in another post, "I knew I just wanted everyone to stop thinking I was paid because I wasn't." Okay. Same day, September 2nd, Cleotrapa posts a 6-part, nearly hour-long TikTok video, like series, sharing her experiences during her time on tour with Ice Spice. So we're going to play the beginning of the very first TikTok that she posted.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Cleo. Y'all know me. I've always been vocal about everything, about literally everything. Nobody can shut me up. Nobody can silence me. Like, was you silenced or was you silenced? Okay, and nobody's gonna do that to me. This video isn't to bash anyone. This is for me to speak on my experience and what I went through. And I want my fans to learn from this. My fans, my followers, my supporters, my future fans, followers, supporters. You don't even have to like me. I want y'all to literally take this situation that I'm about to break down to y'all and be inspired by it. And understand that no matter what the opportunity is, nobody should make you feel less than or make you feel like shit because they gave you an opportunity. It does not matter. It does not give a door, an open way for somebody to try to humiliate you or try to make you feel less than. And I feel as though being such a confident black woman, I'm sorry. I'm asking you fuck as a black woman. I didn't even want to start tearing, okay? Anyways, as a black woman, a confident one who knows exactly who she is and exactly what she wants in this world, people are so intimidated by it, and it's either you're intimidated and scared of it, or you love it and you just love it. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I was around somebody who was clearly intimidated by me, like, and just who I am as a person. And at first, it might have been something that they liked, but as you can see, I only go up, and I could be seen as a threat to somebody who clearly isn't confident. I can fall out with a friend over miscommunications, misunderstandings. That's okay. You know, we can work it out, honestly. It's not something that is like, has to end everything. You know what I'm saying? But you actually have one time to show me that you are jealous, intimidated, untrustworthy, fake, disloyal, ingenuine, manipulative, and calculated. And I promise you that will be the last time you ever play with me. Now I will break down how it ended. And for a lot of people that don't know, me and Ice did not grow up together. That is not my childhood friend. I met her 2 years ago. Before she blew up, I was very supportive of her. Before she even blew up, I was somebody that genuinely liked her. I was like, this girl is so cute. I seen her video on my Explore. She didn't even drop her Bible song yet. And I was so supportive of her. Now, anyways, I'm just going to tell the story because you guys deserve to know. You guys deserve to know why we are not friends anymore, because a lot of y'all loved us being together. You guys do deserve to know why we're not friends. Y'all do deserve to know who y'all are so obsessed with. Y'all love her so much. Y'all deserve to know who that girl is as an actual human being. As an actual human being. Fuck looks. Fuck looks. Fuck all of that. As a human being, as your soul. Y'all deserve to know. So the ending of July, I get a call from Ice very early in the morning. Cleo, come on tour with me. I miss you. Come. And I'm just like, girl, I'm not about to come on tour with you and watch you perform all month. Like, I got a nigga. I got stuff that I can be doing. I can be getting money. I have opportunities in New York. I have brand deals. I have things that I need to focus on. So for me to travel all over the United States with you to watch you perform kind of crazy. She's like, no, I want you to perform. And I gagged. You want me to perform? She ain't never, ever brought me out on stage. I was like, oh, wait. Okay, like, I guess this girl, in my head, this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, I guess she's really trying to make up for that fake shit that got exposed, like, a month ago. Like, she's really trying to, like, you know, be an actual friend, because that shit was weird as fuck. And I checked her about that shit, and even for her to apologize was like pulling teeth. Like, girl, you got caught calling your friend jealous for no fucking reason. And her excuse was that I didn't speak up when I was asked if she was Nigerian. Like, girl, I met you a month before that video. I didn't even know you was Nigerian. So that was kind of weird to me, too, that she was upset at me for not knowing if she was Nigerian. And she said that you could have at least said I was black. Like, girl, I didn't even know you. Am I your PR? Am I supposed to be clearing up every time somebody's asking about you being black or Nigerian? Like, that's not my role. And I don't even know you. And I don't even know you. So I was so confused. Anyways, we moved. Anyways, after that situation that had happened, with her ex-best friend exposing her for calling, like, just about everybody jealous, that was kind of, like, sick, too, because why do you think everybody's jealous of you? She literally tried to link me being jealous of her with that interview of me not knowing if she was Nigerian, and I'm just like, girl, are you crazy? And she never said that she felt the way, and it was just like, I didn't even know that she was mad at me. She's just in messages talking about me. So she told me, like, I think everybody's jealous of me. Don't take offense to it. I say that about everybody. I say that everybody's jealous of me. I even say that about my mom. Like, that's kind of sick. But, okay. Like, okay. Fast forward, though, I started thinking that a lot of the things that Ice was doing was calculated. Like, even the thing after her best friend exposing her, it was like, oh, like, let's go to the basketball game. Come with me to this basketball game. I'm thinking, like, oh, she just wanted me to come with her to a basketball game. Like, maybe she's trying to make it up. I don't know why I kept thinking, like, she was trying to make it up for being, like, caught being fake. But it was just, like, even the basketball game, it was, like, one day later, she's, like, dropping a song. It's like every time she's, like, inviting me out, because we never chilled with some, like, chill shit, bro. Like, it was never, like, just some chill. It was always, like, in the blogs the next day, and the song is dropping too. So it was like, what? This girl kind of uses me for her rollouts. So I'm just like, okay. When the tour thing came out, I'm like, oh, she's actually trying to, like, give me something now. Like, okay.
So more into the TikTok series, Cleo says, you know, Ice Spice didn't repost the flyer. Cleo's name wasn't even on the bill. She didn't help with her bags, which was kind of like allegedly like the catalyst to set off all this weirdness.
The one
because,
bag.
Yeah, because Cleo simply asked for help because Ice Spice said everything would be covered. Like,
I
you don't have to
got
worry
you.
about it.
You're
Like, I
with
got
me.
you.
Right.
And like she let her know a day before the tour set. Like, I mean, I'm gonna get into like some of my thoughts towards the end because I'm a little bit like certain things are iffy to me. But you know, of course, the famous like, she couldn't even get a chicken salad. Like, that's fucking crazy. She had no room backstage. She had to pay for her own lodging, even though Ice Spice, again, said it was covered. She was, like, repeatedly told she was not part of the budget, which is not what Ice said. And then there was like this time where they were like in the middle of nowhere and they went to a steakhouse like fucking without her.
Right. And she was like, if I went to McDonald's, I would have got bitten by a scorpion.
Like literally like in the middle of nowhere type shit. Like
Right.
you can't, and like it was like they were purposely like trying to cut her out when it would have been so easy.
And
to
never
just be
told
like,
her. Her and the makeup art, her and the hair artist who like bonded, her and Ice Spice's hairstylist were like, we're so hungry, blah, blah, blah. They're just like, yeah. Like, who does that?
And it was like purposely like sabotage, right? Because like they could have been like, oh, we're going to this steakhouse. You still have to pay. But like at least we're going to let you know that we're going to where food is, bitch.
Right.
Like insane. Okay, so then Cleotrapa also went on to share a screen recording of their private messages with Ice where she shared her grievances but stated that she wasn't mad, to which replied she was ungrateful. And then in the captions for her videos, Cleotrapa also added more details about her side of the story. She said, I don't want to hear I told you so, Cleo, because honestly, I really thought I had a friend. I don't care. Y'all not going to create false narratives because I'm always clear my name up, and y'all, Ben knew that since 2018. I love how much she showed me she didn't give a fuck. Like, girl, finally show me your character and who you really are. She called Ice Spice soulless and all these things and dark. And then she also said, I want to apologize to my fans who've been trying to say I was a token black friend. It's all good. Y'all will never see me with that girl again. That's it for this. I feel so relieved. Woo. Crying face now. Y'all can all stop making up stories, she added. And then also on my algorithm, because I was so into this, I also came across videos from Cleo's DJ who like recounted other equally as worse, but more onto this story, essentially saying that like his name wasn't on anything. They wouldn't let him into the event. They didn't provide turntables, which is a pretty common practice when they have like an opener DJ come on. He also told a story about when they had all ordered pizza, like Ice Spice's management, and Cleo asked for a piece of pizza and they wouldn't even give her a piece of pizza. And then there was like someone from Cleo's team that was there that had like a young daughter. And so the guy just took the piece of pizza because he was like, man, fuck you. Like, I have my young daughter. And they tried to give him a hard time about it. And also the DJ said that on his name tag shit, it said Cleo's help. And he said throughout the entire experience, they were treated like the help. Like, he was like, I can't even remember the last time I did a show. Like, I've never done a show where they've labeled me as the help. Like, that is crazy. And that's also incredibly racist. So it's like the colorism is colorisming here. But then we go into September. Yeah, bad. So then we go into September 3rd. Ice Spice replies to Cleotrapa's allegations and X spaces. So we are going to play that response.
Y'all know this is not funny. Crashing out is sad, you guys. Like, the scary part of fame, honestly, is the moment that somebody feels like they can no longer use your platform, or like they're not getting exactly what they want out of a situation the way that they want it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's when they decide to crash out every single time. Like, I'm noticing a pattern, bro. And the shit is sad because I genuinely was trying to help her. Like, I'm like, yo, do you want to just come on this tour? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could just, like, join. Like, mad last minute type shit. What had actually happened is that we added another tour bus. So I'm like, now we have extra room. We have extra bunks. So I'm like, oh, let me see if Cleo wants to come. Feel me? So she could do, like, her songs and stuff like that. But that's what the fuck I get for trying to be a good person. It's whatever, bro. Honestly, like, you know, that's not gonna stop me from still trying to be a good person. Like, I'm gonna always help the next person out. Like, and that's really my fault, for real, because whatever, though. But to say, like, just to leave out so many details is crazy. Like, how you not gonna tell the people, bitch, we was on them rides at the theme park screaming our vocal cords out, like, to the point where the next day it was hard to perform. Like, bitch, we was having fun. So for you to try to sit here and complain about a chicken salad, it's like, you never came to me talking about a chicken salad. What are you really talking about right now? You gonna send me a whole essay after tour? Like, you just gonna get off the bus? I don't even know you got off the bus. And you gonna send me an essay with an intro, bodies, and a conclusion? Like, and you want me to try to, like, analyze this shit and figure out how I'm wrong when all I did was share my stage with you, when I didn't even have to do that? You got less than 10,000 listeners, and I'm sharing my stage with you, and you feeling so entitled? Like, you thinking that my peoples that work for me is supposed to work for you too? Like, that's so crazy to me. Like, how I'm in the shower, you gon' barge in while I'm butt ass naked, trying to press me about some bags that you gotta carry some bags. What? Like, nah, that's that shit, bro. But that's all I could do, y'all. all I could do is sigh about it, because it's just like, what can you do, bro? It's like, damn. Crash outs and they going on rants, bro. Crash outs and they going on rants, but fuck it though. At the end of the day, it's whatever, bro. Like, this shit comes with it, you know, like, y'all see clearly, this will come with it, bro, right? So, fuck it. But the whole thing that's blowing me right now is, like, talking about some dark energy, trying to compare a tour bus to a slave ship. Like, what are you talking about right now? What? That is crazy to me, bro. That's so crazy to me. Like, you really gonna be friends with somebody for 2 years, but the whole time you feel like they soulless and dark? Like, you sound dumb as hell, bitch. If anything, we both need saving. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, we was at the movie theaters. We was siphoning. Bitch, you not gonna tell the people how we was at an Italian restaurant and you ate so much fucking food, you fucking vacuum, that the server was like, where did the food go? Like, stop it right now. You talking about she ain't let me to the back of her room on her tour bus. She had this big ass room. Bitch, can I play with my pussy one time? In my bed one time? Like, damn, you wanna sleep in my bed every day? That's crazy to me.
So then we have Baby Storm back on Twitter because you know she's got to respond. And she said she tried to warn Cleotrapa. She says, I tried to warn you, quoting Cleotrapa's tweet. I tried to warn you and you just threatened to beat me up. Nevertheless, I'm sorry that happened to you. And Cleo said, oh, I threatened to beat you up because you were doing all that because you was mad at Spice. It didn't give you had any respect for me, boo. You really could have DM'd me from the jump with that whole situation. It was you on some real bitch shit, but word thank you, which, like, honestly, shout out to Cleo for still being real with Baby Storm, because that's true. Like, why did Baby Storm have to go tweet that and bring it to the public when she could have just messaged Cleo privately if they were friends? Like, that's kind of weird.
Right.
And then September 3rd, Ice seemingly mocks Cleo in now deleted post. She posted, what should I do for dinner with a pole, steakhouse, or chicken salad? And then
crazy.
Insane. And then I will say though, like, I'm just gonna Ice Spice's response did have me laughing, guys. And Cleo's video also had me laughing. When
I was dying at Cleo's video.
At Cleo with the when she was talking about the steakhouse and when she was talking about the chicken salad, like, it was fucking funny. But Ice Spice's video, like, I know it's fat phobic and it's like whatever. And Ice Spice was just big. Like, we're gonna get get into that. But when she said you fucking vacuum, that was funny to me. And also when she said, I can't play with my pussy one time. Like, it objectively, the words that she used were hilarious. Do I think she's in the wrong? Yes, we'll get into it.
Right. You can be funny and wrong.
You can be funny and a
But
bitch.
I do want to say, like, when Cleo said, don't ever let me see you, boo, because blah, 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 that's exactly what my ex-boyfriend's, like, fiance said to me. Like, literally down to the boo, bitch. Like, it literally, yeah, okay.
They use the same lines.
That shit's scary. Don't ever let me see you. I'm like, yeah, please, I don't want to.
Please, I don't want to see you, bitch. Okay, bye. But yeah, Ice Spice's other tweet was on my flight board, so let's play Would You Rather. Would you rather be a mean, bad bitch or a stupid bum bitch?
Like, shut up, in my opinion.
She's just, like, forcing the I don't give a fuck, like, I don't give a fuck, whatever. And then on September 3rd, Ice Spice's manager weighs in on the controversy and then deletes the post. Her manager, James Roseman Jr., addresses the duo's, quote, beef in now deleted post. This is what happens when an artist team don't manage their artist expectations when an opportunity comes in front of them. If you're not prepared for an opportunity and your team isn't properly advancing, then that's on them, not on us offering the opportunity, he wrote. You have to invest in yourself, aka pay expenses, if need be, for the opportunity. It's corny. Someone gives you an opportunity and this is the thanks the person gets. Openers don't have the same things headliners have. The entitlement and ego are crazy. My team spoke to the artist manager this morning and the artist said he blames himself because he pushed his client to stay because it was a really great opportunity, but he knows his client is 100% wrong. The manager realized his client didn't have the financial backing to be on tour. And then Cleo responded to this and said, the way he's lying, LMAO, my manager ain't speak to that man because why the fuck would he be chatting afterwards? She said that in a response. And then also...
So that was allegedly, like, Ice Spice's team was saying, like, we talked to Cleotrapa's manager and this... Okay, got it.
Yeah, and Ice's whole, like, their whole position in this was essentially, you were a headliner, you only have 10,000 listeners, you are not on the same level as Ice, we did you a favor by even inviting you to this tour, like, you're acting entitled. That was their whole position.
But it's like, no, because how many other artists, like, they treat their openers like gold, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they're, like, so, like, that is not, like, no.
I will say, like,
I will say,
and this is just more from like, because I think Cleo is 100% right when it comes to like the weirdness that they did not have to do all that. Like, you can give them a fucking piece of pizza and a fucking chicken salad. Like let's be so
crazy.
serious.
Or she could pay you back too, but it's like, can y'all order it? Like, it's just bizarre.
And it all goes back to like Cleo kept saying, like the bag situation. Like, it seemed like Ice was mad at that and like kept that going. But I will say, from Cleo's perspective, the thing I think she did wrong is like, you think this girl is your friend when she clearly fucking isn't. And she also asked you so last minute. And like, I feel like I'm the type of person with friends, and like, I always want my friends to eat if I'm eating. Like, if they don't have money when we go out to eat, like, I'm gonna pay for you. Like, I don't want to be like
really
watching you fucking eat. Like, that's uncomfortable. But I also will say there's been situations I've been in where I'm like, I don't need to be like that, and I shouldn't be like that. And I think only because Ice Spice asked her the day before, I think Cleo's expectations about shit. But also I said you're covered for everything. So like, that's fucked up.
Cause she asked, she asked like something, and then she said, Ice was like, "You're with me. What do you mean?
Like, you're good." Because she said I don't have the money.
Like, it also, like, I don't think Cleo should have took that as an end all be all though, because it's like way too casual. It's like, maybe she should have asked, but like, wait, no, like, can I bring an assistant? Like, cause
like
it got to a point where like she couldn't have anyone come with her. So even if she wanted to bring an assistant or a friend to carry her bag, they didn't let her do that either.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, but I feel like on Cleo's side, it's like, one, this girl is so clearly not your friend, which we're going to get into in a little bit.
So clearly.
Like, she never fucked with you. Like, you never had one-on-one time. Like, she was always just using you. Like, that, I feel bad for Cleo because she was naive in all of it. But the second thing, just generally with business, with friends, like whatever, like if someone asks you to do something the day before, I do feel like your expectations have to be a little bit managed. But I mean, Ice Spice is still not fucking right for lying about shit.
Yes.
But like Cleo thinking she's going to get the same opener treatment because
like,
she
that
thought
would
she
be
was,
nice, but
like she thought she was friends with Ice, but it's like you're clear, like it's not. So like this girl never had a good mind for you, whatever. So September 3rd, Cleo seemingly accuses Ice Spice of using Ozempic, which like guys,
this next tweet is funny though.
It's funny as fuck. And I will say I saw Ice on tour. Like, I don't want to talk about women's bodies. It's weird. But, like, I do think she's on Ozempic. She looked so much better when she was thicker. Like, I'm sorry. I don't.
It's sad. Yeah.
I don't like, we have our whole beauty episode, like, whatever. But it's just also, like, it makes me so sad as a thicker woman with a natural, like, I just feel like she didn't need to do that. Like, she looked good before, and it makes me sad that the industry or her or whatever feels pressure to be skinnier.
Because we don't understand those pressures, you know? It's like there are real pressures, and even though our culture applauds thickness, do they really? At the end of the day? So it's like,
only in the right places.
For our perspective, it's sad because it's like maybe we like saw like the thickness is like being more represented, like she's like, bitches be thick when I'm thicker, but it's like not really anymore though.
Like we're lying.
But okay, so basically Cleotrapa seemingly accuses Ice Spice of using Ozempic, and she tweeted and said, imagine it, like it's so funny to me. Imagine being called big by someone that was just big. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bed, bro. Ozempic got y'all gassed and fat phobic now? Bet.
Yup. That shit was funny as fuck. And then, of course, we have September 4th. Azealia Banks loves to get in some fucking drama, but she's there to support Cleo. And she says, I don't like how everyone is trying to make Cleotrapa look. Any fucking who. She added Cleo and she was like, she'll be performing with me on Halloween, October 31st in New York City. She will be paid, have her own space to glam, whatever she wants on her rider because I have fucking respect and class.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, you don't need to treat your openers like that, but it's a respect thing. If you want to go out of your way, it's not just like, come on tour with me, but like, there's no food for you. It's like, is that really an opportunity?
Baseline level of fucking
friendship? Like, what the fuck?
And also, when I saw Ice on tour, she brought out Lil Yachty. Like, you can't bring out Cleo and repost her shit. Like, you are purposely undermining her when you're claiming her as a friend, whether you guys really are or not. that's still super fucking shady behavior.
Right. It's actually insane. And it's like the way that Cleo's like, it felt like they wanted me to struggle is so crazy, you know? And then Cleo compared the bus in her sleeping situation to a slave ship.
Yeah.
Which Ice Spice made a lot. She was like, that's crazy. How could you say that? Like, there's a lot going on.
But when we get to, but the part about Cleo's DJ being labeled as the help, and I'll link those videos if you guys want to watch them, because like,
yeah, and if you guys want to watch like a full like YouTube video of like all the parts of the TikToks, and then right after Ice's response, I Am a Loho does a good video of this. She did a video, Ice Spice exposed as fake friend Cleopatra, full breakdown. Like if you want to just watch everything in a row.
Yeah.
But I saw there's a lot about the DJ now too, which was even more recent.
Yeah, and everyone was making fun of him because he couldn't tell a story straight, which I feel like just goes to show more how more real it is. I watched it on 2x speed. I watched all this shit on 2x speed because I was like, guys, like this is a lot.
At this point, people talk way too slow. I wouldn't be surprised if people watch our bitch asses at 2x. I mean, we talk fast though, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like we talk, like if you speed me up, I'm talking too fast. But yeah, the whole thing is crazy, but I do want to kind of focus on the fact that like, were they ever really friends to begin with? And also this idea of like two women being in business and how women kind of like use each other and how they compete. So first I have this study, okay? It's like an academic study, guys, and I'm gonna be completely
this study
real.
looks very you.
It's so academic, and I couldn't even fucking, with my writing degree, okay, and literature degree, I could not fucking comprehend the way these sentences were structured. So I did put it into ChatGPT to paraphrase or whatever. So I'm gonna be like half reading, half, you know, quoting. So essentially the study was discussing both humans and animals. It explored female competition and aggression across different species, including chimpanzees, house mice, social lizards, etc., and it drew parallels to human behavior. It also called for more interdisciplinary research to better understand female competition in both animals and humans. So it was saying like certain things are inconclusive, like we did the best we could, but like there's more stuff that needs to be answered. I think that makes the study more credible.
Does. Yeah.
And it's also from 2013. Like this is the most recent shit I could find. So just things to keep in mind. But it was essentially saying like punishment within female competition is often covert. So they use things like social exclusion rather than overt violence.
Yeah.
And women and females in particular are especially sensitive to this social rejection. And indirect aggression can also be deeply painful, sometimes leading to emotional distress.
Right. And that's like Ice making Cleotrapa look bad when she has to carry her own bags out and her fans are like, can I take a picture? And she's like,
humiliation.
Right. Okay.
It's like, you're not part of this group.
Right.
And then it also says because of like women's social skills, like the way we're socialized, including our sensitivity to others' behaviors and emotions, helps women also avoid direct confrontations and it leads them to resolve conflict in more subtle ways. So like how Ice Spice didn't say directly, like, I'm mad at you for asking to carry the bag. She was just doing it like subtly, right?
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then also comparing how males and females compete, which I kind of already said, but males are much more openly aggressive because they're competing for mates in terms of like sexual selection. And like, guys, we're talking about animals and comparisons to like humans. Like, so I get annoyed when men talk about apes and how we're all like, so we're not trying to overdo that, but like, because this study did like involve humans, like we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But there are also, it's important to know, cases where women are just as aggressive or even more so, especially in situations where they're competing for resources like food and also reproductive chances, which is like less than this. And then also female aggression tends to be more flexible. It changes based on social situations and is also like tied to their ability to raise offspring. But I think the social situations aspect is interesting. And then going on like the different strategies that females use to compete. while they can be direct and violent, it's more rare. Instead, they use those more subtle forms of competition, like indirect aggression, threats, gossip, and social exclusion. And they also compete for food and reproductive resources, which I said. And then also women's dominance is linked to reproductive success. In chimpanzees, for example, dominant females get better access to food, and aggression can occur when resources are limited, especially towards newer immigrant females. And I feel like this is also what we see in a lot of like business spaces, which we're going to talk about more later. The idea that there's only one seat at the table, there's only one top female artist
for a woman. Yeah.
There's less resources, and so like,
and that you like, if you are on top, it's like you want to like show that and like feel like you're above other people. It's like that's what Ice was doing.
You literally,
because at the end of the day, it's like. And also, it's like, if you really have it like that, like a chicken salad, like it's crazy, bro.
And why don't you, if she only has 10,000 listeners, why don't you want to help her out? Why are you seeing her as competition? Like, you're already above
she's not
her
even in your
terms of
bracket
success.
type
like,
shit.
What are we talking about?
I know. It's just mean, bro. Like, I know it's nuanced, but it's just, it's mean.
Exactly. And then for more forms of strategies that they use to like deal with conflict and competition, women focus on youth and beauty, which is what we see when Ice Spice is like, you fucking vacuum, you were eating so much. And then, you know, Cleotrapa is like, no, like, you know, now you're being
simultaneously her losing weight, it's just like, it does leave a bad taste in people's mouth. Because like, while it is funny, it's like, if you really think about it, it's not funny, you know?
Right.
Like the way she's funny. Like she's,
the way she said it is hilarious.
She's a funny person. Like she's comedic, but it's like she also just like, I don't know, bro.
She's mean.
She's mean. And just like what Cleo said, it's like that, and it's not Ice's fault that she got famous so quick, but it's like she never had that like 10 years of like trying like to do this. It's like she just got it like that, which is great, you know, like no one is gonna shame her for that, but it is something to consider. It's like you just kind of blew up overnight. Like, not everyone can say the fucking same. Like, that's rare.
Yeah. And also she could have been more direct. Like all this like passive aggressive stuff that like women are known for, like you could have been like, hey, that bothered me because I have a different idea of how this is supposed to go, and like my management can't do everything for you, but I care about you, a friend, and I can help you out in these ways. Like, you know, it didn't have to go down the way that it fucking did.
And why would you want someone you don't like on your tour, which is supposed to be your passion, your life's work, like something you're so proud of? It's like, I feel like people take so much time into like, who do I want to open for me? Like, what demographic, like, are there? It's like, it was just like, okay, last minute.
She was trying to cover up the baby storm, like, drama or whatever. Like, it was all PR, which we've seen Ice Spice do a lot of when the Central C stuff. Like, she's not looking very good for women. But it's also, like, I was low-key listening to her music when I was getting ready because I was trying to, like, think about her more. And, like, a lot of her lyrics, and a lot of women artists, I mean, it's the same shit men do, like, oh, I can fuck your bitch, oh, I can get your man, like, whatever. It is a lot of that, like, competing with other women kind of mentality. Yeah. So it does align with her music as well. Like, that is her personality, you know? And, like, I don't think Cleo's like that. I think Cleo is a much more, like, genuine, solid person.
I think so too. And I know I did say, like, off camera, it was like when she was like, Ice Spice has this dark energy around her, like she's dead in the eyes. Like, at first I was like, yeah, I see that. But now I do think that's kind of taking it too far. Like, to call someone soulless is a little bit crazy. Like, that's very dehumanizing. And like, she definitely like was shitty to Cleo and like definitely is in the wrong. But I feel like upon further reflection, like, I don't know, I think. And it's like, maybe she's soulless because that's what the industry does when you're fucking famous like that. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. I'm like, I mean, I was thinking, because honestly, guys, off the bat, my initial reaction, I'm going to be so real, is because like I said earlier, like I am the type of person to like help my friends and people around me to like a point that has hurt me. So like I've had to learn to like set up certain boundaries and be like, okay, not everything that I have to give to you as well. So when I was like first hearing this situation, I was like, no, like Ice Spice is on tour. She's tired. She can't like be taking care of a friend the entire tour also. Like she needs time to decompress and play with her pussy or be with her man or like whatever. Like she's already like under a lot of pressure. Like that's how I looked at it. But then like I didn't know about the Baby Storm stuff as much and the colorism. And like once I got into more layers, I'm like, okay, like she should have like said something. She didn't have to promise these things, like whatever.
Yeah, because if it could have just been that, but it was
like she could be a person, because it's like you never know. Like Ice Spice could be someone with like social anxiety or more of an introvert, and like maybe like her expectations for helping out a friend are like more like they're different. Yeah. But still, the way she went about that whole situation, and honestly, maybe was using Cleo as a token black friend, which is like.
Or even just to be like, hey, I have female friends. Either way, bad.
Either way, bad. Yeah, and trying to cover up some other shit. So,
like, here's one friend that didn't fucking, like, it's great.
Right. But then, like, a little bit more, like, beyond that stuff. I don't think this plays into it as much, but I just wanted to include it because it is interesting.
Yeah.
Some factors that are influence female aggression are hormonal influences. So the hormone testosterone can play a role, even though the effects are less pronounced than in men. And then also the complexity of how testosterone influences female aggression is still not fully understood. And then we also have neuropeptide influences, which is oxytocin, which we have talked about before. And this is so interesting, like whenever people talk about this, because that is what bonds you to your child, what bonds you to your lover. And it can enhance both protective aggression, such as defending offspring, and hostility towards outgroups. This is like the tend and defend effect that shows how oxytocin supports both caring and aggressive behaviors. And I love that because I'm like, oh, like men are seen as the protectors, but when it comes to oxytocin and your like kids and your loved ones, like women can go to that other fucking level.
Right.
So, and then also anxiety does play a role in aggression. And this is what I was saying about maybe Ice Spice is an introvert. Like, I don't know. Like, I just want to like offer nuanced perspective. And also oxytocin's ability to reduce anxiety can facilitate aggression responses in certain situations. Also the neuropeptide argin vasopressin, which is typically associated with men, but it also contributes to maternal aggression, like if a person is a woman or is a mother.
Yeah.
And then lastly, cultural influences. Women are generally socialized to avoid direct aggression and maintain egalitarian relationships, leading to flatter dominance hierarchies than those seen among men. From a young age, girls are encouraged to use affiliative, non-assertive communication, which aligns with societal norms of femininity.
Because you think about, like, what would have happened if they had a real-ass conversation? Because even in Cleo's TikTok, she's like, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
I let it go.
I stayed. I let it go. And then she finally sent her, that long text or whatever. It's like, what would have happened? And part of me gets it. It's like she's trying to be like, okay, like,
I feel like it makes more sense for Cleo to not say anything because the power dynamic, like, you're on her tour and you're not trying to be difficult. You're already feeling like a burden. But why would you say something to make it worse? But for Ice to not say anything is like, bitch, you're in the power situation. Like, at least, like, say something directly so Cleo has the opportunity to respond.
Right. And it's also like that part, I remember when Ice's team told Cleo and Ice's hairstylist and makeup artist, whoever, like, okay, we're about to leave. Everyone get on the bus. And they were so tired. And then they slept for like 6 hours, woke up, they hadn't moved.
They're still there.
And then they were like, oh, well, Ice wasn't ready to go yet. And I feel so weird calling her Ice because, like, I know her. But, like, it's just shorter than being like, Ice Spice every 2 seconds. So, sorry, guys.
Same with
I know
Cleo,
it's a little cringe. Yeah, I know. I'm just like, we're lazy with it. But, and then Cleotrapa compared it to, like, oh, let's just get the luggage on the fucking bus. And it's just like, damn. Like, imagine, like, going to sleep, thinking you're going to leave, you wake up, you're still there. Like, that. why didn't you just say, oh, never mind? Like, why are you letting people sleep on a bus when they don't need to?
Because how easy is it to just send a text like, hey, like you can set like boundaries and like distance, like Ice can go do her own thing, like whatever, and still be like, hey, I'm looking out for you. Or at least have her management do that. Like you have so many people working for you and you can't communicate. That's crazy.
And she has it like that. She claims to have it like that. So it's like, what? Because even lower, like someone like Cleotrapa that would go on a tour, like would treat their openers better than that. And they don't even have it that high. Like it's insane.
And even us talking about, okay, like maybe they weren't friends. Maybe Cleo was in the wrong for even like giving this girl a second chance, believing in her, thinking that they were closer than they were. Even though Cleo said like, I didn't really know this girl. Like, oh, like there were red flags, whatever. Like even with that, like it just goes to show when we get in this like business environment or when we have these like surface level, like we're associated friendships, like the weirdness that goes on. Like you have the emotional depth of like a real female friendship. And then you have this weird, like these levels of female friendships, but we also hold each other to these higher standards. Like, it's so messy.
Like in the entertainment industry, it's like people have friendships for PR and it's like, you know, it's PR, but it's like maybe celebrities like just get those blurred lines. Like they start to really think like, oh, my fake friends are my real friends because that's what people think, but I don't really like them. Like, it's all just so weird, but I keep going back to like, yeah, like she asked you the night before, bro. Like, I'm just like, because we didn't say this, but Cleotrapa said in her video too, like her and Ice Spice had never hung out on some like raw shit, like where they were just like chilling, talking, like smoking, sitting on the couch, like whatever, like without makeup and like their face done. How she put it, it was always like on some clout shit, events, like
she was never your friend. And that's the one thing, like I think Cleo is in the right about everything in her shit. Like Ice Spice treated her like shit, but this girl was never your friend. Like and Cleo,
so is she or is she not?
Yeah, Cleo half said it. Like she was like, I didn't really know this girl. Like we never, like she knew, but like I think to like be like, oh, and like she treated me like this and she was my friend. Like you can't claim both. And like this girl was never your friend. She was using you. Like it was just purely like, and that's the thing too, though. I think like women more than men were like pressured to align ourselves as friends. Like we can't just have business relationships. We have to also be like friends. And
otherwise
girls,
it's like you're acting like men.
Right, exactly. So there's so many layers to this shit.
There's so many, like, dude, that's such a good point. Like, even like the YouTube men and like the Twitch men, like they all have these fake ass fucking relationships and everyone's just like, whatever.
Because I was talking to like a guy recently about like how men be in like business spaces, and he was like, the second a girl walks in the room, like the guy's entire personalities change. And he was saying how like he won't talk to, like, if he knows that girls, and this, we had a whole conversation about this, right? Because I was like, no, that's fucked up. But he was like, he won't talk to the girls that are there with the guys because in the past he's done that and it has hurt his relationships because then the guy won't talk to him and won't fuck with him because, oh, you're trying to get my girl and my girl's showing you too much attention. And I was explaining to him, no, that's fucked up because then women are just accessories and it is so annoying.
No one acknowledges her.
Right, like you go out with a man and then like men just talk and you're just standing there awkwardly, like you can't introduce me.
So true. Like you think about, it's like the girl in the studio, like when they're like, you know what I mean? And I felt like that with my ex-boyfriend's friends. It's like they couldn't look at me. Meanwhile, I'm like prancing around the apartment in booty shorts. Like, I just made 2 bands last night. Like,
but they're not allowed to because the way that men interact is that like they will cut you the fuck off if my girl is showing you too much attention or you're talking to my girl or these girls or whatever. Like they will like. So I feel like guys,
which it is kind of nice in one situation, even if the girl's in the wrong, they still blame the man. Like I'm not mad about that. But it's really sad for like male on male friendships and like just the part about how when a woman walks into the room and then everyone acts different. What do you guys?
And then I was saying to him too, I was like, okay, but What if I am also there for business? What if me as a woman, like, oh, so like if I talk to another guy and I'm with a guy, like you're going to think that for guys, anytime a woman is talking to a man, they're thinking, he's better than me. He must have more money. He's hotter. His dick is bigger. They feel threatened by everything.
Immediately.
And women do to a degree as well. I guess we all fucking do, but men, it's just
if she's
much
a bad
more.
bitch, though, I feel like, and I know that's a really misogynistic thing to say, but I feel like the man could be so unconventionally, like not conventionally attractive, and they still get tight.
Yes.
I know that's really fucked up, but you guys have to understand.
Yeah, you got what I'm... Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm the baddest bitch. Like, I'm not. I'm just saying.
You are the baddest bitch.
Thank you, babe. But I'm not saying that.
So next, moving off of this, we're going to talk more about female-women friendships, women's dynamics, particularly in business.
So this article has a bunch of stats and studies, so we're going to just get into it. We're going to read, also paraphrase a little bit because it's kind of long. So basically... starts out, a comment on my last op-ed about male accountability stated that, contrary to my argument, quote, the biggest hindrance to women advancing is other women trying to tear them down and not men. So, are women meaner than men? A cross-company analysis published in the Harvard Business Review 2019 found that women are no more untrustworthy or antagonistic with other women than men are with other men. For a while, I accepted this research as resolution of the mean girls problem. Women are only perceived as meaner than men because society is conditioned to expect them to be nicer. However, this data only tells half of the story. So even though women are not meaner than men overall, many of us are still uncomfortable seeing each other in power. Compared to just 26% of men, 39% of women report preferring a male boss over a female boss. What?
Yeah.
Female employees switching from a male to female manager receive less support in their job. So the patriarchal bargain, Nadia Christensen, a research scientist in evolutionary modeling, uses the idea of the patriarchal bargain to explain that women criticizing fellow women is sometimes the only way to gain relative power in the system that fucking hates them.
Yep.
The patriarchy getting inside so many women's heads means that discrimination and societal expectations incentivize us to compete. So women compete because we are told to be a woman in a certain way. If women are told they need to be attractive, personable, many will defend that they embody these traits and tear down others who get in the way of that. If women hear people insult a female politician as angry or ugly, many will defend that they do not embody these traits and then criticize other women for these stereotype downfalls. So reading a little bit more, subconscious standards in the workforce. So this study in the year 2000 by TurkNet Leadership Group assigned a reading about the same fictitious successful person to two focus groups of men and women. The only difference was the two groups received was the gender of the person. So Howard was described as a visionary, while Heidi was labeled critical and hard to work with. When women are criticized in positions of power, many are incentivized to label other women as critical or hard to work with, like Heidi, to remain competitive in the eyes of men in leadership. In a male-dominated workforce, women employees see a limited number of women in high positions, leading many to assume that there are fewer opportunities for them. And the result is the Hunger Games for female success. Research shows that when competition for job spots increases, women are less inclined to bring other women along. We recreate a biased status quo, albeit through no fault of our own. Therefore, women are often blamed for the lack of female advancement in the workforce because we don't always support other women. Furthermore, Christensen's research further shows that when one woman tears down another woman in front of others, the rest of the group, both men and women, often follow suit. In this way, one woman who lacks self-confidence can hurt another woman while simultaneously reinforcing the patriarchy.
So then from a different article, and I do want to say a lot of this is focused on like corporate spaces because that's
not
where
like entertainment.
Yeah,
right.
not entertainment, but I think a lot of the same stuff does still apply because we're going after patriarchal, what's come before us.
It's the same shit. It's the same system at play.
Yeah, same system, just different vibe. So a different article says women can and do internalize patriarchal messages that women are not as strong, competent, and capable as men. This is known as internalized sexism or internalized misogyny. Women unconsciously absorb beliefs about their rightful place, and those messages show up in how women judge each other. That can lead to women to mistreat, underestimate, and distance themselves from other women in order to increase their power and standing among men. In addition, successful leadership has also been defined by men. With few women role models, professional women have emulated men in order to find acceptance and get ahead.
And you know what's interesting, dude? It's like all fucking day, night, we all talk about women and men dynamics in the workforce. When the fuck do you talk about women and women dynamics in the workforce? Because all of this shit is fucking tea. Like, it is so true. Like, why is it? And it's not, and we don't blame other women because it's like, oh, it's patriarchy. That's why she feels that way. But it's like, we really don't want to see other women succeed to a degree only because there's a scarcity. So then you feel like this woman's success equals, well, now my chances are even lower, you know? And success meaning promotion, not like going viral. Like, it could be something so little. But just like, I'm just thinking, it's like no one ever talks about
And that's why
this.
it's like we talk so much about decentering men. I completely agree with that idea. But the problem that I have with it a lot of the times is like, okay, decenter men. And then what? We just create this fake culture where we're all like, girls support girls. Because
but I want to get better too.
Right. Like if we're going to decenter men, then we also have to decenter men in the patriarchal internalized misogyny sense where we can criticize other women for internalizing that stuff. Like we should be criticizing each other and holding each other accountable. It's not just, oh, men are the enemy, decenter them, remove them, and then we're good. Like we still have shit we gotta work through.
Not good.
We're not
good. And in fact, you know, a lot of people decentering men, it's harmful to relationships, and it's like men deserve to be decentered, like, and not just this man, that man, like male species as a whole, like they deserve it hands fucking down. But it's like, if you don't like look inside yourself as a woman and how you've enabled things in the past, like how you've approached life, just like thinking about men all the time, not villainizing yourself, not being mean to yourself, because it's damn near impossible not to do those things. Like, it's actually impossible. Yeah. But you have to talk about it and, like, think about it. Bro, I need to get back on my meds.
Bro, no, but you're speaking facts. But you're speaking facts, and it's like, you gotta, like, you have to acknowledge and decenter the man in your head, too. It's not just about the physical
not
man.
external.
Yeah, you gotta decenter the internal man.
Because that's the evilest man, bro. Like aside from predators and abusers, like, the evilest man is what lives inside and, like, how we think of men. Like, when I tell you that shit almost killed me, bro, like, it's not... Yeah, you got to start.
It's not helping.
Evil man and all of
the evil man just up there, just pulling strings, like, bro. Okay, next we have another article: how friendship holds women back in their careers and what to do about it. This woman pretty much says, 15 years ago she was Cisco's vice president. She was in a position held by only a handful of women, and then she became she co-founded ChipusNetwork.org to connect women in tech, law, and policy for the purpose of helping build bigger books of business. Over the years, they hosted like countless events, brought women together, thousands of smart, ambitious women. They marched against injustices side by side. They swapped maternity clothes. We made friends, but they didn't make business deals. So after interviewing many dozens of women to find out why, she realized that the cultural moment female friendships was currently enjoying, the same strength, intensity, and deep connections being celebrated, was also setting up a false dichotomy between personal relationships and the transactionality of business. So she says, women told me when they asked a friend for business, they feared it would damage their personal relationships. They took rejection personally and became gun-shy about making another pitch. Even well-qualified women who had no qualms about asking and were quite adept at it were often met with avoidance, a brush-off, or no reply at all from these other women that they're friends with. Women who received an ask from a friend said they didn't expect their friends to hit them up for business, and when they did, it sometimes caused an unspoken tension that dampened their enthusiasm for the relationship. Some even began to doubt the true motives behind the friendship in the first place. Others went so far as avoiding those who might ask for business later. So I want to discuss a little bit about why the fuck are women so weird about this? Because I feel like this is such a thing where it's like, we have like other successful women that we might know, but like we don't want to ask them for things or ask them to put us on because that level of like, oh, they're going to think we just want something out of them. And is that because like how we were talking about earlier, it's like, you know, the depth of female friendship needs to go beyond these material, like what is that?
Yeah, I don't know. And I can't help but like think about us too, because like we are best friends that like have a business together. And I think like we've had some ups and downs, like, you know, are you determined? Like, do you want this as much as I do? Like, whatever, this fucked up, whatever. But it's like, I don't even think we've seen the half of it because we don't even have a big following yet. And I feel like that's kind of when it damages stuff. And if it's corporate, it's like you're in a higher position. Like, and I think like, honestly, like I have friends like in the entertainment industry that like have clout-like positions and stuff like that. And so it's like, I think I'm very confused on why that is. I don't think I've ever broken that down in my mind before. But I think it's like it's almost like you consider it disrespectful to ask for something. Like, I don't want to disrespect you and like strip you away of humanity and just look at you like someone that could get
like
me
a
something.
ladder.
But why can't both be true? Like, why can't you have a real friendship and also help each other out, you know? Because it's like, if it was a man, you don't even think twice, bro. Like, I'll ask for anything. But yeah, I think it's like a respect thing. And I think it's just like, you know, what I think you think that she'll say, oh, well, why can't someone just appreciate that, like, I'm doing well? Like, why does it always have to, like, be wanting something from you? Because I think you can tell the difference between a friend that genuinely cares about you and is, like, asking for help versus someone you haven't talked to in years, messages you, sees you doing well, and is like, oh, how did you get into that?
Right.
You know, but it's also, like,
but if we're, like, women support women, help other women get up, then that is completely the opposite of what we keep claiming and preaching. And I'm like, it also makes me think of a lot of the, like, I reconsidered a lot of my casual women, female friendships when we started this podcast, because I'm like, okay, you claim to support me, you claim to be there for me, all this stuff. And I'm like creating this platform about women and to help women. And it's so easy to just repost something and you don't. Or like when we're out, like, the friends that I'm still like very close with will be like, oh, this is Fiji, she does a podcast when it makes sense and stuff like that. Like, they'll put me on. But I've had other friends where it's like they're purposely like gatekeeping you, or they don't want to support you, where it's like with a man they would, like a guy friend, they'd repost his music video right away. Like, what is that? Like,
yeah, and I also just feel like for us too, and like our friends, like watching, not watching, reposting, not reposting, like, it's like no one ever asks, like, oh, how's that going for you?
Yes.
And I don't know if people feel like, damn, they've been doing this for like 6 months or like however, like they finally got in the groove and it's like they still don't have 1,000 subscribers. So is it like awkward? Like, because we don't feel awkward. Like, I'm like, it's fucking hard.
Growth.
Like, have y'all ever tried to like start a YouTube channel? Like, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know if it's that too. And what we were saying before about like women having a hard time like being direct when it comes to business. It's like directly asking like, this is what I would like as a friend, or is this something you could do for me? And it's not even anything crazy, but as simple as a repost, bro. It's just like, yeah, it's actually wild. Like, are you really my friend though? Because I don't really think any of my friends listen. And, like, I don't have,
and
like, that many.
not listening because you know me and, like, we talk regardless. Like, maybe some of these topics
But my sister listens every week,
But not
bro.
reposting or not supporting or not, like, mentioning it like when you're around other people or we're in the same room. Like it's just
or
like that
asking
weird.
how is it going.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Like I'll go up to my friends and be like, yeah, so my podcast is going well. Like literally.
Yeah.
Because I just want to talk about something that I'm working so hard on. Like fuck. But yeah, I don't know. It needs to stop though. But I think it is the most confusing part for me. It's like why we really do that. And with everything, I think it's nuanced and it's like a combination of like patriarchy, how we were raised, like how we view women in any sort of power. Because how we say we view it is like different than like our instincts or our behaviors that are showing.
You got that second thought you say, like you got to check that the man in your head, like
yeah,
you know, like
the cis fucking evil man in your fucking head, like literally, like the voice of misogyny, like because it does happen, like. Even with my delusional crush, I see her performing at shows, like doing her music. Like, and why am I so jealous?
Yeah.
You know, like so jealous. And it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So to counteract all this like bad stuff that we're talking about, how it like holds women back in business and all of that, we have an article that says women actually do better when they have a strong group of female friends. This study finds, and the study published in the Harvard Business Review pretty much found that women with a strong circle of friends are more likely to get executive promotions with higher pay. Women who were in the top quartile of centrality and had a female-dominated inner circle of 1 to 3 women landed leadership positions that were 2.5 times higher in authority and pay than those of their female peers that lacked this combination. And part of this reason is because when you have strong women backing you up is because you can turn to your tribe for advice, right? Like other women experience these same challenges that men cannot relate to, like sexism and like being able to ask for more money and all of that stuff. So they're able to like back it up and give you more advice. And then they also said that it's interesting to note that women in leadership positions who lacked this style of support system didn't make as much as women who did, while women who had networks that most resembled those of successful men, so you're like aligning yourself with men, placed into leadership positions that were among the lowest in authority and pay. So even by a lot, you know, by being, because we don't really like the term pick me, guys, like in a lot of the ways that it's used, but like in the sense of being like a pick me where you're aligning yourself with the patriarchy. That's the only like what like Pearl. That's the only way that I'm really okay with using the term, or like in the corporate space where you're like aligning yourself with men. It never serves you. It literally never serves you.
It literally never does. And it's so interesting. Like studies are so funny. It's like women that have more friends succeed better, but it makes so much sense. And that's why it's like, if you're friends with someone and they get promoted or they do something, it's like, shouldn't they understand the struggle and like want to help you out? But then it's like, no, we're just holding women to higher standards. It's like no one questions when men fucking shoot for the stars, me, you know? I don't know. Like this shit's got me fucked up, honestly.
Yeah, this is crazy. But I do also want to just mention Sophia Franklin and Alex Cooper.
Right.
I didn't include them in this. I do have more articles I'm going to mention at the end, like with some more examples of women that like I couldn't include everything in this fucking episode. But I think they're a good example of like women in business that tried to go, one, aligned herself with the men. I mean, she did really fucking well. But like the dichotomy of how Sophia Franklin was so shamed and all of that is interesting to think about. But next, we're going to go on to when business hurts best friendships. So when two people, JT and Carisha, city girls, were best friends, and when going into business together, the industry hurts you. So JT and Young Miami have been close since they met in middle school in Miami-Dade County in the early 2000s. At the time, Young Miami had already established herself on MySpace and was known for being Trina's goddaughter, who's like a famous rapper. And once JT and Young Miami actually met, JT was determined to make Young Miami her new best friend. And JT said Carisha was one of those it girls. I was like, yo, she's lit as fuck. And from their first meeting, City Girls forged a solid friendship that lasted through their adult years. They turned to each other when Young Miami's mother went to prison, forcing her to move with her dad. JT also spent more time with Young Miami's family as she stayed at Miami's grandmother's house after nights out. And then Carisha said, or Young Miami said, that her and JT spent most of their teen years sneaking out, fighting, drinking, being grown, doing stuff we had no business doing. And then JT said, I was rebellious because I didn't have my mama around. No one could tell me what to do. When I started hanging out with Carisha, I was pillar to post. I started running away. I didn't like it at my daddy's house. I didn't like it nowhere, no more. And so, like, in some ways, their friendship kind of reminds us of me of ours, like how we were, like, you know, working shit out together, but, like, maybe a little bit bad for each other in certain ways, too.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Like codependency, like trauma bonds, arguably, but not, since we did the Therapy Speak episode.
Right. That should change everything. Y'all run up Therapy Speak. That episode deserves more
down
love.
Right now. It does not have enough fucking views. So they continue to support each other. In 2013, Young Miami had her son, and JT helped her with that. And then they started rapping. They put out their first couple of songs. And also, once they got really big, JT got locked up for scamming. So Young Miami helped her through that. So there was a whole bunch of like mess going on, but they were
talk
always,
about going through shit.
Right, like holding it down. They were always doing that. But recently, I think it was May of
April, it looks like.
Yeah, April of 2024, they got into a Twitter fight. And right now, everyone's like, are City Girls together? Are they not? JT's doing her solo career. Carisha's doing Carisha Please. So we're going to read these tweets. We're going to go through the Twitter beef. You want to be JT or Young Miami? JT? All right, I'll be Young Miami. So let's do it. I said, a bitch been sneak dissing me for weeks and I ain't say shit. What a bitch mad at me for? I ain't jealous of a soul. I'm always like, go bitch go. I clap for everybody. I show love to everybody. It ain't a bitch I haven't shown love to.
And then JT quote tweeted that tweet and said, oh, Miss Mama, this is your last day playing dumb. I know I come off crazy, but never in my life did no whack shit to this girl. She literally enjoys seeing me being dragged. When people show me love, she goes crazy and call it a hate train. But like I said, we can sit and talk about it. It'll be too much for me to tweet. I will like a sit down, Carisha, please, and this time leave Santana home. And then someone else tweeted, Miami is really going through something. You just responding to stranger on Twitter. You're pathetic. And JT quote tweeted that and said, and I was for sure there for her from the beginning, but y'all will see this in time that I'm not. Never was and never will be the problem. Have a nice day.
For you to come on here and try to play victim is crazy. Jativa, you've been sneak dissing me for the last couple of days. I haven't said shit back to you. You made 2 whole songs dissing me, and I still wrapped your shit with my chest and showed love, smiley face. So what's the problem here? You let the internet put in your head that I'm jealous of you when you know I'm the one that's always pushed us. You have resentment towards too, and that's not okay. And that's okay.
JT said, girl, the internet told you that which songs was about you, the one saying it's City Girl shit even when it ain't City Girl shit. That was released under City Girls, or the one that sang riding solo but I'm still in a group. Get your phone back from whoever this is, baby. Don't play with me.
I know, it's so funny.
And then she quote tweeted the other tweet and said, which songs were about you?
A bitch trying to kick me while I'm down and play into these narratives. It's dangerous when I've been nothing but a friend to you. No bars and sideways.
And then JT said, oh, wow, you're really losing it. If you thought this, why not speak to me about it? You came on here and said LOL so people can ask you why you weren't defending me. Attention seeking as usual. Then she said, you looking for a way out of your situation? Who was the first person called you when it all started? You're a sad fucking case.
Not you. You weird, but always want to act like I'm a weirdo. You always mad and it's always a problem. And all I try to do is push you, tell you the shit, you can rap, you should model, etc. You always mad, you're doing your shit as you should. Congratulations, but somehow you're still mad at me.
If I'm ever mad, I have a reason to be behind closed doors, and you have done stuff to me that you think I should just get over. You never come to my defense when I would have literally took a bullet for you. When CP popped off, I was there first episode, and when someone canceled, I showed up in a red wig. Keep calling me mad like the internet do, but you know me, my heart pump gold. I wish you the best always, and I love how fast you got on here behind Santana. Heart emoji.
Jativa, we just got off the phone, so I'm confused. Now we're back to the internet.
This tweet was before the phone conversation. Don't know why it didn't go through. Maybe because everyone blowing up my phone and it still stands. I'm glad to see you know how to respond. You're nonchalant about everything else.
Jativa, I love you. I'm moving on.
I love you more. I actually love you the most. like fucking iconic. I'm sorry. Twitter fights, as fucked up and sad, they'll always be iconic. Like, Twitter fights are crazy because it's like, you know, and if that was back and forth over text, I'm sure there would have been like maybe more like cussing or like, I don't know, something. But it's like they really let everyone see their, you know, intimate friendship fight. Like, it's honestly like, I don't know. It's crazy. Like, Twitter fights are like the most viral fucking things ever. I swear.
And it was so iconic. And I just want to play this one TikTok real quick, and then we're going to talk about all of it.
JT and Carisha is really a tale as old as time. Yes, there's more money and more men and more drama and more fame involved, but this is a classic tale of when you and your homegirl from high school have been friends for a long time. One of y'all moves away, gets into something completely new and different, and the other friend really just wants to keep doing what y'all been doing. Carisha has been hood famous and pretty and hood rich her whole life, and that is still what she is, just with a lot more money and access to a lot richer men. It didn't really feel like she wanted to do anything different than whatever she needed to do to have money to support her family, but she wasn't trying to like evolve and grow as an artist. Like, guys, let's be for real. And that's not a moral judgment, by the way. That's a perfectly fine desire to have in this life. But JT, on the other hand, is doing photo shoots with Alex Consani. JT is doing songs with Kali Uchis. JT is exploring this whole alt girl aesthetic with Doechii. Like, I could hear JT on the Guess, Billie Eilish, and Charlie XCX remix right now. Like, that is where JT is going. Now, there are two huge factors that I haven't mentioned, being their respective partners. And I say two because Carisha is getting a lot of due negative attention for her relationship with Diddy, as she should. But I feel like no one is bringing up the fact that Uzi is also an alleged abuser, and was very disrespectful to Carisha. So honestly, I'm just gonna nix that as negativity on both sides. All that being said, I don't really feel like there's a side to take in this whole thing. They are just two different people who wanted two different things. They needed each other to get from point A to point B, but their point C's are in completely different locations.
So honestly, I love this Twitter fight because I feel like it's like this shit playing out in real fucking time. Like, they're both like, the internet told you this. No, the internet told you this. No, we've been city girls. Like, we've been best friends. Like, why are you letting other people get in your ear? And like, it's
that's like
about,
what
like,
Lorde
jealousy.
and Charlie.
Literally. And it's like, I love the end, how they're like, oh, like, get off Twitter. Like, we were just on the phone and like, I love you. Like, and just the line, it's city girl shit when it's, isn't always like, it's city girl shit even when it's not city girl shit. Like, they love each other. Like, this to me is a real friendship, and there's gonna be pettiness and there's gonna be beef. Like, me and Autumn have fought about business and like, oh, you should do this more, oh, you whatever, like, but we handled it not on Twitter. But it's just like, that's like, you bicker when you're like friends and you have been and you're working together. And also, like, this is a big moment in their friendship. Like, I mean, they're going in their separate ways. And like,
they came
apart.
Up together,
right? Like,
they wouldn't be like, they came up together. Like, that's fucking deep to like, and then be converted and like still try. And also, it's like, even if all this shit, this beef wasn't happening, it would be hard to come up as a girl group, go separate, and maintain like that same intimate friendship that y'all had before. Like, that's not easy.
Because
and
everyone
not just
puts it on you because they're going to be like, oh, she doesn't like they're going to, people don't want to see city girls do separate things, even though they're both individual people with different interests. Right. So they're going to be like, oh, she hates her. Oh, when that shit doesn't even exist.
Like, have to create something, because why would something so iconic like city girls end up? And it simply is because, well, they have their own artistry. Like, they're ready for the next chapter. Like, that's valid, you know? So, but yeah, it's literally, and they talked about it in the Twitter fight. Like, why are you, the internet is telling you things. The internet's making it seem like I'm jealous. And it's sad, but it's like, I can understand why they would like subconsciously internalize that, because it's so hard. Just like the Charlie Lorde shit, it's like, it's dehumanizing the other person too, because it's all this like online rhetoric. It's like, you're not really thinking about your friend, Young Miami, anymore. it's half of City Girls are like your competitor now. Like, it's fucking weird.
And you have an army of people telling you that. Like, we can't even
Right,
imagine
like,
that
their fan base?
experience. Like,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
it's insane. But at the end of the day, like, with them, like, I hope that they keep that like strong friendship, because they've been through so much together and they came up together, and it's okay to grow apart and do separate things. And like, I just love the way that ended. Like, I'm not like big into getting into like, oh, like, I mean, we're doing it in this episode. We're talking about the Ice Spice and the Cleotrapa shit. We're talking about this. But like, I think this is like, I don't know. And I think this should be in history books, like in talking about like what the industry does to women in friendships, because it is really
and look at us.
crazy.
They put it out on for us to analyze.
Yup.
And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is so different than the Ice Spice and Cleotrapa
because they
stuff.
were really
and
friends.
same with Charlie and Lorde, because they weren't even ever friends. Like, it's the jealousy and the internet and the competition is all throughout everything. But this is like the first example that we've said that's like they're actually
real
friends, and you can fucking tell. You can tell. Like, she would know what her fucking ethnicity is, like, whatever. Like, the Nigerian
She would know
thing.
she's Nigerian, yeah.
Like, she would fucking know.
And then we also had a listener story submit. Someone said this one hoe kept posting subliminals about me and then would say it was a joke after. Constantly compared herself to me. Followed my man on social media. Twitter stuff. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so lastly in this section, talking about JT and Carisha, we pulled from this article from Psychology Today that was from the very beginning, where the woman had the book about like complex female dynamics. And she pretty much names these 3 affinities that are core to female friendship. So she says the 3 affinities, symmetry, support, and secrecy, are central to understanding women's friendships. These qualities, while fostering intimacy, also make these friendships more susceptible to disruption when violated. So women prioritize symmetry, that feeling of, girl, you're like me, you get it. Support, because the research says that the number one thing women look for in their same-sex friendships is emotional support. And then secrecy, which is this feeling of you and I are exclusive. We're in this vault together. And I'm not saying that men don't value these things, but women highly prioritize these things. Recognizing these affinities provides a framework for identifying and addressing issues within friendship. I'm able to name, when she criticizes me or when she's judgmental of my parenting choices or my eating choices. It feels like she's elevating herself, because criticizing me is you saying that your choices are superior to mine. And so what's happening here is that I feel like she thinks she's better than me. And the interviewer says, it's fascinating how these affinities shape the dynamics of female friendship, and understanding them can help navigate conflicts more effectively. Typically, when it comes to conflict in friendship, we don't make the unsaid said. Again, like those women, like subtle forms of punishment. It can just feel like there's something off, but I can't really tell what it is. And it just continues to build and accumulate. It's helpful to have that framework to ask yourself, I don't know what's off, but is it symmetry? Is it support? Is it secrecy? It gives us a little bit of an audit in those situations. And I would argue that in JT and Young Miami's situation, it's a little bit of symmetry because they're going in different directions. I think it's support because she was like, oh, when have you called me when I'm like down bad? And then it's also the secrecy because it's like, okay, we were city girls. We came up together and now the internet is telling me stuff about you. Like, are we? So it's maybe all 3, which is why it blew up so bad on that Twitter fight.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think about those because it is kind of a thing. Like, I know when we got into the last argument we got into, like, it was podcast related.
Oh, yeah.
It was back in February, guys. It was a while ago. But I think it was...
Wait, what argument?
It wasn't really an argument. It was just more like when we were talking about the podcast work and stuff. And I was like, I feel like you don't care.
Yeah,
like, whatever. And I think that was symmetry and also secrecy probably because I was like, are we in this together? And also like, are we aligned? Do we care the same way? And I had to learn, yes, we do. It's just manifests differently.
Yeah, we show it differently. Right.
Exactly. But we had to have that like moment. And I think often women aren't direct. We're subtle. We use passive aggressive stuff.
Because it's scary. And every time we want to have direct conversations and like, we've been like, if we've been in an argument, like, okay, I can FaceTime at 3:00 this day. Like, we text each other, like, I'm scared. Like, we literally get nervous because on one hand, you're like, okay, this is my best friend. Like, I should be able to, like, say how I feel. But also it's like, this is my best friend. I care so much. I don't want anything to be like received bad. Like, I'm like, I just don't want to say the wrong things, but like, I also want to be genuine. Like, she deserves that. Like, you need to be able to tell your friends hard things, you know? Otherwise, it's not as deep of a friendship as you might think it is.
Yeah.
And it sucks. Like, it's not fucking fun. But yeah, I like, it's the way, it's a little confusing to me. I'm not going to lie, the symmetry, the secrecy, but you saying, applying it to us, and then JT, it's like that makes a lot of sense. And I did the part where it was like, typically when it comes to conflict in friendship, we don't make the unsaid said. You just feel like something's off. And that's like the direct piece.
Yes.
And that's like, yeah, it's like, why do we skirt around shit like that? But I keep going back to, it's like, well, we're not conditioned to be direct. Like, you know, and it's like so hard to like stand up for yourself as a woman, like whoever the fuck it is. Like, it's just hard.
And I think it's like, it's the case for like, I mean, look at Charlie XCX and Lorde and why that was so iconic, because they were direct. And look at Ice Spice and Cleo and why that was a fucking mess, because they weren't. And then JT in Miami, why it worked is because they were direct. So I feel like it's like the more we talk about how like we're conditioned as women, we're being too subtle, we're like, if you feel like your friend is sneak dissing you or like whatever, like call her out on it or say, like, make the unknown known, because the only way that it's going to get better, like letting that stuff keep sliding, is what manifests into this
you explode
bullshit.
And you're done. Like, imagine like we went on, or like you went on for months, a year, not knowing if I fucking cared. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and that's like Ice Spice and Cleo. Like, were they friends? Were they not? Is she Nigerian? Is she not? Are you the token black friend? Like, there were so many questions, and that's why the friendship wasn't real, because it's hard to do. But I think that also goes into the beginning when we were talking about what makes a best friend a best friend. You being able to be your whole self, and you being able to, even though we still get scared to have like those hard conversations, we know that we can, and we know that we're going to be okay when we do. Right. You know, and I think like in general, women just need to be like more confident being direct with everyone in our lives. Like, we're so socialized to be like nice and feminine and whatever the fuck. Like, no, we need to like say how things make us feel, and like but with the mentality of like, oh, I'm not just calling this out to be a bitch. I'm calling this out because maybe you did have other intentions and you didn't mean to hurt me, but that hurt me, and like, let me address this because I care about our friendship.
Yeah, and we always talk about this like inability to be direct, or like this hesitancy when it comes to like romantic relationships, but like never female friendships, you know? But it's so fucking real. And it's good to talk about like with your best friend, you know?
Yes.
And we're not going to be perfect. Like, we're not going to be perfect. Like, I've definitely said petty things to you before. Like, I'm like,
we can
not
be
going
passive
to be
aggressive to each other sometimes.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
we definitely are, but it's like, you know, like,
but it's because it's like you're dating. It's like, it literally is like that. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Like,
and it's like, why? But it's not that deep. Like, it's really not that
it'll
deep.
be fine in like a day or in 3 hours when we're like,
but like the thumbs up of messages, and you'll be like, okay, you're being passive aggressive. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like,
but like, I will be like, I feel like I like
thumbs up is crazy, bro.
No,
I do that to people though. I'm like,
do that when I'm fighting with a man too. Like, good.
I do too, because like that compared to a heart, it might as well be a dislike at this point. It's literally a thumbs up, but we demonize the fuck out of it. Like, someone's mad if they do that to you, unless it's like your boss or
unless
your mom.
It's corporate culture where it's like, but next, finally, we're just gonna get into a little bit about like the case for competition. So maybe women should be competing and should be more comfortable with that. So we're gonna read this article.
And this article is from Vogue. It's called "Seeing Other Women as Competition Isn't Always a Bad Thing." I recently realized that I'm a collector of potential rivalries. Within my friend group, almost every woman I know would be seen as a source of competition. There are fellow freelance journalists all vying for the same commissions. A pal who published a book last year at the same time I did. The more accomplished friend in my pottery class. The chums who are just a little bit taller, a bit fitter, who have bigger houses, more money, better connections, who swim faster and cope better with the Lido's freezing winter temperatures. In fact, my entire friendship circle could probably become a boxing ring with blow after blow delivered by a group of women desperate to outdo one another. And that, for many, seems to sum up female friendship. The idea that women compete, undercut, compare, and cattily take one another down in order to achieve queen bee status remains the prevailing narrative around how we apparently behave. Men, they're fine to be in a healthy competition with one another over everything from their Strava times to their salaries and step counts. It's only where women are concerned that being in open contention with a friend is a cardinal sin or a sign that you're the sort of woman who believes there's only one seat at the table and will rip someone else's throat out to sit in it. I will say, though, I'm yes, like we compete, we undercut, compare, cattily take each other one down, but like not always. Like it's not that black and white. Am I reading into it too much?
No, I think she's saying that that's how women are seen.
As seen. Got it. Okay. And then moving on, she says, that's what I thought, but I don't know. I just didn't like that. It was like the exploitation.
Because she's saying that's how women are seen.
Right, which is true. 1000% it's true. It's still pretty convenient for me, male-dominated workforces, just to pluck one example from the air, to push the idea that there isn't room for us all, keeping women in a scarcity mindset that promotes insecurity and jealousy. And when the spaces we're allowed to occupy feel so limited, no wonder so many of us have internalized the belief that you have to clamber others over to get in. In friendship, this can manifest, well, badly. It's tricky because we are naturally drawn to being friends with people who are similar to us, who share a profession or are at a similar stage in their careers, who have the same interests, style, relationship status, family, makeup, and or living arrangements. All that opens the door to comparison, even if you're not doing it yourself, though be honest, you probably are. Someone else will be. And in that crucible of compatibility, resentments can quickly build up and friendships sour. That's why we need to talk about this stuff, because it's okay to be friends with someone and feel a bit jealous of them too. It's perfectly normal to feel a little fire of envy spark up when a friend tells you that she's got something you want, a job, partner, home, pregnancy, or pay raise. It doesn't mean you're not happy for her or want to deny her success. But because we're all the main characters in our own lives, it immediately reflects what you haven't got back to you. Of course, it can sting to see your friends do well when you feel as though you failed. You don't love them any less and you're proud of them, but there's pain there as well. You can be delighted for them and a little threatened or jealous at the same time. Needless to say, if you are actively happy when your friends fail or attempt to sabotage their success, that's not cool. Why is this so taboo when we're all used to feeling it? And why is it immediately seen as a negative trait?
Bro.
Interesting. And I will say, like, now upon reflection, like, I keep saying that, bro. I said that to my boss at work the other day. I was like, upon reflection, I feel like I'm helicoptering the dogs. I think I need to give them some space, bro. Anyways, I'm like, I've always, and like, even more so when we were on college, I'm like, we're so different. Like, we're uncomparable. What if we weren't? Then what? Would I be out here? You know what I mean? Like, that's almost like off-putting to me now too. It's like, what does it matter? Like, it doesn't matter. And it's like, I do love the duality. It's like, you can be excited for someone, even like your sister or your brother. It's like, it's natural. Like, someone tells you good news. We're fucking all like individualistic people sometimes, or some people, if you're in the US, whatever, you're gonna think about yourself. Like, it sucks. And that's why the second thought is so important. Like, yes, I don't have a pay raise and it'll happen for me and I'm really happy for my whoever. So it sucks, and I think it is important to talk about, like, it's even like, oh, I felt jealous of you in that moment. Oh, why did you? Like, I know it's wrong, but like, I'm a human being. Like, it fucking happened. Like, a real friend is never going to shame you for that.
Right.
It's the people that like don't say anything and start to like low-key resent you.
Yeah.
And you have no idea why they're fucking acting like that, you know? Because jealousy is crazy, bro. The emotion is so ugly. It's so demonized, but we all feel it. Like, we all feel it.
It's
People,
human.
I'm not the jealous type. Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, literally grow the fuck up, bro, because it happens. And it's like, it sucks that it manifests into female friendships, what are so special and like essential to our well-beings and all that. But it's like, since we know it's inevitable and that it's there, like, we need to just talk about it, even though it's hard. And again, like, you should be able to say hard things like that to your friend. Like, otherwise, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
And get, like, comfortable. Like, honestly, and I like the beginning part where she's like, I have a circle of women that are all better than me at all these things. And, like, that's
motivating.
Honestly,
that's like your dream.
Like, that's
shit.
all that I low-key want. Because I feel like for me, I mean, I grew up playing sports, and I feel like because of that, like, I had a girls' soccer team where we're not competing directly against each other because we're competing together, like, as a team.
Right.
But there is an element of, like, oh, I want my footwork to be as good as hers. Oh, I want to kick as far as her. And I did track.
Is crazy. Okay. I'm, like, so sports ignorant. Continue.
But
yeah,
also
like
with track too, because it's like more of an individual,
like, I'm gonna be faster than
I want to
you.
be faster. I want to jump farther, like all of that stuff. And so, like, I think growing up with that, like, I always like kind of saw a healthy amount of competition with women. And even with you, bro, like, I get excited when Autumn kills the fucking outline like she did with the humiliation content. Like, it makes me so excited because I'm like, oh, she killed this. Now that makes me want to kill the next outline that I do. Like, it is fire, and we're on the same team.
No,
like, we're
for
working,
sure, because
you know?
I would have never created humiliation content the way I did if it wasn't for your trauma dump and your this and that. Like, and it's not, but it, like, I swear to God, it's like, I would tell you, it's like, I really, like, I want this for us so fucking bad. And it's almost like us, like, one-upping each other in that sense is, like, helping us be better. Because at the end of the day, like we say, we are one brain cell.
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't have been able to do that humiliation, whatever, if it wasn't for you and, like, what we've learned together, like, about research, media literacy, all that. Like, it's not just, like we are one.
And we both bring in different, like, it was Autumn's idea to put the graphics in.
Bro.
Like, that was a game-changing thing for the podcast.
That was crazy.
So it's like we're both working together towards this common goal, but, like, we both bring different stuff. And, like, every time you bring this dope thing, I'm like, oh my God, that lights the fire under my ass to, like, give a fuck more and do more. And, like, same in, like, corporate spaces. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't care as much about my corporate job, but, like, when I have other women around me, like, doing well, I'm like, oh, I need to do just as well. Like, oh, you know, like, this girl has really great style. I want to have just as good style. And it's like, is that healthy? I would argue, yes, it can be, because it's like, you know, you shouldn't be competing to a point of, like, you're losing yourself and you're just trying to be that person.
Like, or be better than,
Right. But if you're, like, say you're someone who is, like, more insecure with, like, dressing up or something like that, and then you have a friend that's really comfortable, like, dressing up when you go out, then you're like, oh, like, maybe I can wear this when I go somewhere else. Like, maybe, because I felt like that. I'm like, oh, I used to look at it as, like, too much, to put too much effort into how you look. Like, that's not cool. But then you have a friend that does that, and you're like, oh, like, there's nothing wrong with that, and I kind of like this feeling.
Yeah,
you know?
and I've told you this before, but, like, for people listening, like, literally when I met you, I was like, oh, like, we don't all need to wear Urban Outfitters. Like, I forgot. Like, you were someone that I was like, she is, like, wearing, like, different things, like, stuff, like, and it wasn't even, like, that fucking, like, you look at, like, fashion. It's, like, it wasn't even that groundbreaking. But it was at the time because, like, you grow up, everyone dresses the same way in high school. Boom, I get to college, and I'm friends with people that are, you know, it's, like, it's so
and
fucking
even that,
inspiring,
I would
bro.
credit to, like, my best friend in middle and high school, the one that I was
like,
talking about
she
that
helped
joined
you
the
get
sorority.
there.
Yeah, because she was so into, like, YouTube vloggers, makeup artists, fashion. Like, she was really into, like, K-pop and stuff. And so the way that she styled clothes was always, like, it was not your basic just, like, whatever. So it's like she put me, and our styles were very different. Like, she was a lot more girly
and being
stuff.
basic is fine.
Yeah. But, like, the effort that she, like, put into how she looked, like, that inspired me. So it's like, I think, like, if we can look at it more as, like, okay, you might feel jealous and you might feel a lack or an insecurity inside yourself, but use that as, like, a platform to jump into who you are more and, like, build yourselves together rather than, like, oh, there can only be one and this, like, internalized man in our head.
Right. Yeah. And I think, like, honestly, like, us doing this together, it's like you could have done your own podcast. Like, I could have done my own, but it's like, truly, I believe we're better together. You know? Like, I really do believe that. Like, I don't think.
Imagine just one of us just, like, that would be so.
Oh my God.
Like,
no. I would be
boring,
insufferable.
like-
I think you would be good.
I mean,
I would
watch.
be
No, I
trash.
think I would be. No, I think I would be so.
You drinking
dry.
White Claws? Yeah.
I would just be so dry. Like, I feel like you bring the element of,
And
like,
but I'd be like
liveliness.
too much. Like I would be. It would not be good. But needless to say, we balance each other the fuck out. Like I really do think that, and I think like me and my high school best friend, like we never had the conversations that you and I do, and like I was. Like, I don't know if I was jealous of her, but, like, she was, like, sporty and, like, didn't wear makeup. And, like, I wanted to be, like, more girly. So it's, like, again, the incomparable thing. But we did actually look alike. But we never talked about jealousy. Like, I don't know. It's just,
and
like,
that's
bizarre.
kind of like, because I've had friendships like that too, right? Where it's like I was more of the going out one and they were more of the homebody. And it's like I'm jealous of her for being more stable. She's jealous of me for being more
For,
social.
like, being fun,
but we're
yeah.
never like addressing it. So we both feel like we're not enough or we're too much.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's like Lorde and Charlie, you know?
I know.
But yeah, so that pretty much wraps us up on everything. We are about to get into what we're so wet, so dry, and still a little bit confused about the topic. But first, I just want to say, guys, this episode originally started as an episode just about friendship and friendship breakups. Then everything fucking failed. We're re-recording it because the Cleotrapa and Ice Spice stuff happened. We added in different layers. So there was a bunch of stuff that I cut out. But I do want to suggest some articles in case you guys want to read more about this topic. I definitely suggest looking more into Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian, Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo, Sophia Franklin and Alex Cooper. Also, this article from The New Yorker that I'm going to put on the screen. It's called The Friendship Challenge, and it's really great for talking about how women's friendships change from like young adulthood and like early years to like adulthood. And then lastly, the Bad Art Friend. Also, Bad Art Friend has really interesting dynamics between a white woman and a black woman as well, which also plays into different layers of like misogyny and also race going on. So that's a really good one to pay attention to. And lastly, Caroline Calloway and Natalie Beach, their whole saga, they are working it out or not working it out on the remix in real time, hating on each other. That is a whole fucking mess. So just, I mean, there's so much out there, like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. Like, you can get into so many different, like, women's dynamics. Female rivalry is really so common, and we'll probably touch on this again in the future, but I just want to drop those in case you guys are interested. All right, so now we're going to wrap up the episode as we always do, talking about what we're wet, dry, and still a little bit confused about the topic, because it is okay to still be fucking confused. I know I am. But I will go first. I'm definitely wet about the whole Brat, Charlie XCX, Lorde situation and calling it the fuck out. I'm also wet about JT and Carisha. Like, they just remind me of us in a way. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like when you know, like, a friendship is real, like, you see that shit. Like, I feel like their friendship is real just the way they talk to each other. So, like,
you can totally tell.
Yeah, and I'm also wet about that last idea we talked about, like, competing with women in ways that, like, drive who you are as a person, like, your growth. And also, like, I don't know.
Inspiration.
Yeah. And, like, also when you're mutually working towards a goal together, like how we have the podcast. But even greater than that, when we talk about all of this whole idea of, like, women advancement and women in more positions of power and, like, success and money and all that stuff, like, isn't that what we all want and what we're all claiming to want? And it's what we use against each other when we're like, oh, lift other women up, don't tear them down. But maybe the secret ingredient is a healthy level of competition. So I'm wet about that.
Yeah. I love that. I would say I agree all that. And like, I'm definitely just wet about the conversation in general, because like I said, it's like, there's not a lot online about female friendship, the nuances, and just the idea of like women being better, you know, and not in the context of relationships or straight people or men or whatever the fuck, like just in their own women ways in their friendships. I'm wet to kind of like break down the Just a Girl a little bit like we did at the beginning. Definitely just the Charlie XCX like whole album and like what that represents and like how people were actually inspired to like go work it out on the remix with their own friends in their own life. Like, it might sound silly, like, wow, a song got you to do that. But that's what music is, right? Like, that's what art is. Like, it is inspiring.
Life imitates art, guys.
Yeah, and so I love that. Like, that's impact. That's influencing, like, the real kind, you know? So I love all of that. I love that we were able to kind of, like, break down our friendship a little bit to you guys. And it's just, like, healing to talk about. Like, honestly, like, if we didn't have this podcast, we wouldn't be sitting around talking about if we're jealous of each other or not. Like maybe. I mean, we are very, like tangent-y. And we would do shit like that, but not nearly to the degree that we do now. It's, like, fucking top of mind. Like, you know, it's definitely, like, affecting us. And I think it's just because we're growing and, like, we're becoming, like, better people, like, in general, just because we're, like, getting smarter and stuff and just questioning things. For me, that's the wettest thing. Like, fucking question things. Be curious. Like, don't look at things as an end-all, be-all, because shit's gonna change in a second. And lastly, honestly, I didn't know who Cleotrapa was before the Ice Spice stuff. And so, like, I was, like, on her side. And you can't even say I'm biased because I didn't even know who she was. But she honestly reminds me a lot of Issa, one of my mom's sisters. Like, I don't know, just the way that they kind of, like, talk and, like, low-key shit on people. Like, it reminds, like, I didn't say anything. Like, that's very her.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That whole situation is, like, wet to break down as well in itself. Like, that's a huge moment in pop culture right now. And usually we record things in advance. So I'm glad we're able to, like, jump onto that.
Yeah. And last thing I'll say with the wet, too, I'm definitely so wet about the idea of working it out on the remix. I'm so happy you and I are we've been worked it out, but, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that whole concept, and
Every
I hope
day.
It would be great if Cleo and Ice eventually do that. I would be really wet for that. But as far as dry, like,
nah, fuck that, bro. They were not good to each other.
But they weren't. But,
I know, we
want
to see women win. Yeah.
Yeah, like Ice, like, take like accountability and, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
you're right.
Right. As far as dry, like, I'm definitely dry about the little man in all of our fucking heads, like, the internalized patriarchy. Like, I'm dry about mostly, like, the fact that women can't be fucking direct. I mean, we can. I don't want to say we can't, but, like, our, like, socialization and our instinct to not, like,
Makes
just say
hard.
shit. And also about all, like, this whole concept that we talked about of, like, we're trying to decenter men, but we're, like, not really doing it because we're afraid to look in the mirror and we're afraid to, like, call out other women's shit or our own shit because that tears down women. But by not doing that, then we're setting women up for more failure. Like, it's a paradox of dryness going on here.
Hey,
so dry about all of that, and definitely also just dry about the Ice Spice and Cleo situation because the colorism that's going on. Like, I mean, when we're throwing around words like the help, and it just got really messy there, and I feel like that is just, like, not cool and not fucking okay, and, like, Ice Spice is definitely fucking in the wrong, and I'm dry for Cleotrapa too, because I'm like, you know, as much as she's in the wrong, all she did was, like, think this girl was really her fucking friend when she wasn't.
All
like,
she did!
She gave her so many chances because she's just a genuine person.
How can we be mad at her for that? Like, yes, it's like, maybe you should have thought about this. Maybe you shouldn't have, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, well, she gave someone the benefit of the doubt. Like,
right.
I know. And we hate to see two bad bitches fight. Like, we really do. Like, even when it's in an iconic Twitter fight that people will talk about for centuries to come, we hate to see two bad bitches fight. And I'll add to that, because I second everything. We keep, like, we always do that every time, bro. Like, no, it's kind of like a new thing that we do. Like, we're like, I'm
going to add that into my...
Because I'm like, I'm not repeating what she said, but, like, that's why I would say, too, like, the directness is crazy. Like, I hate that, too. And, like, I see that within myself constantly.
Same.
Like, I'm definitely getting better at it with age or whatever. But at the beginning, when we talked about the transition from, like, girlhood to womanhood, you start seeing women as competition. I mean, that shit sucks. And, like, no one prepares you for that. Like, you're going through it real time. You think you're doing everything normal. It's, like, almost like you're trying to survive in, like, the social status, but it's, like, really harming you because you're not even, like, I wasn't even acting like myself. Like, I was being friends with people that, like, probably didn't even really care about me that much, or, like, had made fun of me the year before because I played with stuffed animals in the library. Like, I don't know. Like, I really wish
hug little Autumn in the library.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, I was be like, girl, you're good. Like, enjoy that shit. Like, I could tell you're 26-year-old, you still have the
I
little
still
sketch
sleep
shop
with stuffed
on your
animals.
desk. Oh my God, me too. And so many people do. Like, it's a comfort thing. Like, I have stuffed animals in the shape of pillows. Like, it's fucking
Yeah, I have a pillow
vibes,
pet.
bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have a huge Hello Kitty fucking anyways. So yeah, what about that? Like, that's definitely on some inner child healing stuff, because it's like, while I want to hold myself accountable, like, I definitely moved things I shouldn't. It's like, we were just growing up. Like, we were just doing what we could. Like,
in this world.
Like, it's so fucking hard. So yeah, dry about that and everything you said too.
Yeah, as far as confused, I mean, bruh, I'm confused about a lot. I just spit everywhere. I'm confused about a lot because it's like, talking about all of this and then applying it are two totally fucking different things. And like the time that it takes to address the little man in your head every fucking time is a lot of fucking energy. And like, I'm mostly confused about like myself and the ways that I can like hold myself accountable constantly like in this world. Also very confused about the study where we were talking about, there was another dry thing I wanted to say right before I get it. Yeah, but another dry thing. I went back and forth about this for a while about whether I'm using the term female friendships, because female is like sex, right? Sex, female and male is sex versus like
two female oysters in the ocean.
Right, versus woman and like man, femme, mass. Like it's all like, you know what I'm saying? But because that was the most commonly used term, that's what I used.
Articles.
But I also realized that doing that just reinforces the system. So like, I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions for that, the ways in which we use language to talk about these issues, should I be saying women's friendships, girls' friendships? What should I be saying? Because I think there has to be the caveat that it is that we are talking about femmes and not men. Anyway, if you have any thoughts on that, please comment below, because I like beat myself up about it, but like I don't know what to do. But
especially because it's like guys always say like, oh, females be like, but I do think it hits different coming from an actual woman, because a lot of women talk like that too, and like honestly, it doesn't bother me as much. Yeah, because I'm like, oh well,
but
you are.
Also it's like not inclusive to like
that part,
the non-binary and the trans community, because we're saying female. But then it's like, even when I'm saying female, I look at it as incorporating femmes. You know,
who knows that? It's like you have to say that, right? And that's why it's like, even Chaperone at her concert the other day, I saw a clip. She's like, I'm here for all the girls. And then she was like, and when I say girls, like, y'all know what I mean. Like, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe we'll go in and add a little soundbite at the beginning of this episode for that, because I feel like that should be.
Fiji's in her head, guys. But I agree. I think it's like, yes, the intentions are there. We know, but it's like, we don't know who's going to watch this fucking video.
Yeah.
Like,
and not everyone knows us. Exactly.
They don't know us at all. We're literally
it's like we're trying to play into the algorithms and SEO and all that shit because we want to be found. It's just a fucking mess, guys. But anyway, back to what I was confused about. So the study that we use and how we're talking about female animals and female humans or whatever, like, I'm still constantly confused. And I mean, the study talks about this as well, like the socialization versus biology and hormones and like all of that stuff. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like all of that, like how much of it is innate within us to like be indirect versus how much of it is socialized. I like to think that it's much more how we're, I mean, it's like a balance, but you know what I'm saying? That confuses the fuck out of me.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And I think it's a fucking ongoing journey, like everything else. Like, and it was with more experience too. Like when we're 10 years later, like we're gonna feel differently about this shit, you know?
We
like
need more research. Like
more research, more like life experiences. Like it sounds so cliche, but it's true. And I think honestly, I'll keep my confused short because my phone's about to die. Y'all just saw the 10% battery. But the biggest thing I'm confused about is the female mix with friendships. And aside from the, you know, tendency to not be direct and things like that, it's like, why are we so fucking weird about it? Like, why are we so weird about if our friend wins, we don't want to ask them for something. They look at us crazy if we try. Like, why do we look at women in power so different than anyone else aside from like the obvious patriarchy, all that bullshit? It's like, why is that so hard for us? Like mixing, because you always like men, mass, it's like they have no problem doing business together. That's all they fucking talk about, do crypto, this, that, whatever. It's like, and I think it's, you know, a part of it is because female friendships are so intimate. Like that's why it's hard. And it's like all these combinations of things. But that's the biggest thing in this episode that stumped me the most, and I feel like I didn't have the most to say because I am still like,
and maybe
really confused about that.
Yeah, because because I know we need to wrap up, our shit is dying. But like I will say, in talking to like the men in my life recently, like I've learned a lot more about how men compete subliminally that I didn't recognize, and it's like maybe women can learn from men and men can learn from women in certain senses, like when to not be aggressive, when to be direct, like that sort of stuff, because we're all competing. Like clearly we're all jealous.
Men don't do everything wrong. Like maybe they because at the end of the day their friendships aren't as so deep and personal, but it's like when it comes to business that's like a benefit because they don't get like as hurt about shit, because it's normal. Like even when we had our like this pat about like not caring, like we didn't give a fuck about each other, like I wouldn't have been like, oh my God, I can't believe she thinks that. Like, you know, like I would have been like, oh yeah, like whatever, like normal shit. But when it's someone that, it's just, it's way too deep. It's like we need to just calm down. But also, I love being a woman. I love being emotional. Like I would not want to be like transactional man. No. Like no.
The depth is important. Yes.
The depth is so important. But yeah, that about does it for this episode, guys. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. In our Instagram DMs, you can always email us at sowhatsodry@gmail.com for any questions, advice, topic suggestions, literally anything. Make sure y'all are subscribed on YouTube. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We are 75% the way there. So please help us out and just click the subscribe button, like the video, drop a comment. You can rate us on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, 5 stars. You can also give us a written review. Even just a couple of words is great on Apple. Means a lot. And yeah, thanks for listening.
And yes, we also do have listener support. Right now it is through Spotify. No matter where you are listening, at the bottom of the description of every single episode, the link is there. It is 99 cents, $4.99, or $9.99 a month. Guys, we have none. Like just like we have no one. Like
no one's ever done it. Ever. So why do we say it?
So be the first.
Be delusional and somebody will. Yeah, if you're the first, like, I don't know what, like, but we will do something.
Like, we'll see it. We won't know who you are probably, but, like, maybe we'll do something.
99 cents? Like, just do the 99 and then cancel it. Right, just cancel it. Just do 99 cents for 1 month, bitch. Please, bro. Someone's gonna clip this and be like, embarrassing content creators be like but I don't even care. Maybe it'll get someone to fucking do it. But yeah.
But yeah, that about does it for this episode, guys. We will catch you in the next one. We love you so fucking much. Bye.
Bye.
There's no such thing as a sugar daddy without the sugar.
This is very true, but what I will say, there are 2 types of women who are sometimes able to get away with having a sugar daddy without giving any sugar. And this is just something that I've noticed over the years. They are either 1, drop dead gorgeous, like on a scale of 1 to 10 in society standards, they would be an 11. Or number 2, which I think is more important, is they are master manipulators. Their understanding of human psychology goes way past like the average person's knowledge. Some of them are like borderline sociopaths in my opinion. But yeah. And I'll actually throw in a third situation is sometimes people have sugar daddies that they used to give sugar to, but over the years they've developed a friendship and maybe the physical part of their relationship has ended, but that person still financially takes care of them. So yeah, if you don't have one of those 2 traits or both, or the third situation going on, you're going to have a very hard time getting away with something like that.